Oh, hi, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Thursday. Hello. Hello. Hey. I hope I scared everyone by obnoxiously yelling as soon as I got on here. If you pardon me, I am currently eating some lunch. So hello everyone. Hi. Mm, mm. Okay. Let's see who we have here today. Who do we have here today? We got um 2 days till Christmas. What do you mean, G Soup? Do you mean you're off for Christmas? Okay. There you go, Outer Signal. Okay, let me see who do we got here. We got Outer Signal. Hello, Outer Signal. We got SoCal. We got Doug. We got who the hell else do we have? We got uh Sir Bartholomew. Hello, Sir Bartholomew. You're driving home. Fantastic. Thank you, SoCal. Yes, please, everyone, like the video if you haven't already. It helps get more people in here. Um, is that so, Cheese Soup? Is that so? Okay. Hello, Drusilla. It's been a while, Drusilla, or maybe not a while, but maybe a few days. Anyway, hello, Drusilla. Am I missing anyone here? Oh, Louise. Hello, Louise. Hello, Louise. Hello, Soup Cheese sla- slash Cheese Soup. Um, hello, Jonas. And okay. Well, hello, everyone. So we got a lot to talk about today because we just got a lot to talk about. All right. Um, it's like nerd Christmas for me because I got yesterday the 2026 World Inequality Report came out. So we're going to look at how bad global inequality is. We also are going to talk about nations and nationalism. SoCal, I don't know why it looks different. I think maybe I don't know. I brushed it a bit because it was kind of going crazy this morning. But I will get it. I need a haircut. I will say that. I definitely need. That's okay, Drusilla. I won't hold it against you this time, Drusilla. I won't hold it against you this time. All right. Hello, weird amorphous blob. Hello. So we got a lot to talk about. Again, I'll fix my hair. I mean, I'm gonna get a haircut soon, so because I don't think it looks good. But anyway, moving on. Okay. So a few things we're going to do. We're going to talk about nations and nationalism, where it comes from, where the idea of hello pancake, where the idea of nations comes from, according to one academic theory on that. We are going to talk about uh, 1 second here. Okay. That's possible, SoCal. We are going to talk about um the World Inequality Report. We're going to talk about the Trump administration basically uh, taking over. Uh, yeah, oh, of course, Jonas, of course, right? Of course he did. I'm sure he has, great insight on that, Jonas. Okay. Um, we're going to talk about Trump's piracy on the high seas, taking over a oil tanker belonging to Venezuela. There's just a lot to talk about, folks. There's a lot to talk about, so I'll probably be streaming for a while. Um, and a few things here, as always, folks. If we get one super chat, I'll put on the jester hat. If we get three, I'll put on the collar. If we get five, I'll put on the makeup. If we get seven, I'll stream an extra 20 minutes. If we get to, I'm sorry, 10 minutes. If we get to 10, I'll stream an extra 20 minutes. And then every donation after that will give us 5 more minutes. Okay. So, anyway, so that's how we'll do this. I may not actually be streaming tomorrow or Saturday. I might have something I need to go do. I'll let you know. Right now it's looking like I won't be streaming until probably Monday, to be honest, after today. Uh of course, Jonas, right? And he talks fast, right? But so just warning you about that. I'll keep you updated on the Discord. Okay, guys, so hello Mithril. So um let us get into the first thing. As always, let me do my little presentation here first, then we'll talk about the news items and things like that. Okay. Um so let's get to this. Let me pull up the Thank you, Louise. Thank you. Okay, so let me pull up the. Ooh, I don't know why my screen's a little weird right now. We'll move that around a little. Okay. All right, here we go. So let me make sure I face. We're going to talk about something called imagined communities, and I think you all will find it interesting, very relevant to us today. Oh God, look, that looks bad. I need to really fix that now. All right, give me a second here. Um, does anyone in here have a social sciences background other than me? I'm sure there's. I know there's at least one person. I think there's someone in here who has a sociology background, right? I ask that because I would say criminology got you, Jonas. Oh, maybe not that field then. I don't know if you would have learned about Benedict Anderson in criminology. But anyway, so Benedict Anderson, we're going to be talking about nations. Okay, you'll see what I mean. The idea of nations, um, where it came from, and this is an idea that's still deeply with us today. Okay, nations and nationalism. Okay, so let's get into it. For anyone, so okay, this is the guy we're going to be talking. This is the guy who came up with these ideas. Very influential thinker. I don't know if I've posted his. Um, gotcha, pancake. Okay. Um, so this is a very important theory that was developed by Benedict Anderson. He wrote a very famous book called Imagined Communities, which is it's a pretty short book. Uh, Maniac Cuck, not no, it was not. So partially, you're partially right, Maniac Cuck. Benedict Anderson actually slightly critiqued the Marxists. He's a Marxist, but he kind of critiqued it. Um, and actually, I think he improved on it a little bit, but you'll see what I mean. Okay. Hello, Emmanuel. All right. So Benedict Anderson basically, he wrote this book called Imagine Communities. I don't know if I posted it in Discord. I'll go make sure if I did put it in our resources section for anyone who wants to read it. It's a pretty short book. It's very good. Okay, and he was the Aaron L. Binnenkorb Professor of International Studies, Government and Asian Studies at Cornell University. Okay, that's a nice title. And this book, Imagine Communities, was published in 1983, and it's one of the most cited books in the social sciences. One of the most cited. Like, it's cited a lot, a lot. Okay, and the other thing too, like it's up there like with like Freud and Marx and things like that. It's cited quite a lot. Okay. So anyway, very influential thinker. He died in 2015. These are not my ideas. Obviously, these this come from his book. Um, Fox Emblem, you are very, very good at noticing things. Yeah, I just hope I'm not getting sick again, Fox Emblem. Let's put it that way. I had trouble sleeping last night. If anyone was on the Discord, you could. I was having a lot of trouble sleeping last night, and I'm kind of scratchy today and stuff. So I'm hoping I'm not sick. Let's put it that way. I feel like I've gotten sick so often it doesn't make sense if I'm sick again. But anyway, so okay, so let's get into it, folks. Uh, we will. So let's get on. Let's move on here. So this is still very relevant to us today. Okay. Hello, Tarbin. Hello, Tarbin. How are you doing, Tarbin? Okay. Uh, so uh, historical development of nationalism. So his book basically talked about where the idea of nations came from, um, and what a nation is and why it's important. Okay, so let me explain what that means. All right. So the first thing he talked about was the historical development of nationalism. So um, okay, so before nationalism, which is kind of is the era we're living in now. We are still in era of nation states. Okay, uh, before our current era, communities like communities of people connected to each other. We're essentially like on a large scale connected to each other through religion. So, like, you would identify yourself mainly, especially in Europe. Now, a lot of this is mainly focused on Europe, but a lot of it is true elsewhere. Um, You would mainly focus yourself, well, it depends on where you are in the world, okay? So, but these three things especially were the drivers all around the world, okay? Is religion. So you wouldn't like there was no idea of I'm French or I'm, German or I'm Chinese or whatever it was. There was you would identify yourself either by religion, so you would be a Christian, right? You'd be part of Christendom, or you'd be part of Islam, or whatever it may be. Okay, you would identify yourself through religion, and you would feel kind of this imagined community with people uh, um, who were your same religion. Okay, identity, like big group identity, was also linked to dynastic loyalties. Like, who were you the subject of? Were you a subject of a Habsburg? A king? Were you the subject of King George? Were you a subject of the Emperor of China? Were you okay? So, and that was sort of well, also part of the identity. So, religion, who you are subject to, your dynastic loyalty. Okay, like what ruler you work for, what ruler you work under. Okay, um, and also, there was a little bit of the idea, a connection amongst people through like shared culture and spoken language, but only verbally spoken language. Okay. So, like, you might feel a stronger connection to people that have a similar culture to you and things like that. But for most people all around the world, things were mainly local. You mainly formed close connections to people in your family, people in your village, people close by. And there wasn't as much of an idea of a larger identity outside of local identities, okay? Again, there was religion, dynastic loyalties, some culture, but there wasn't much of a sense of, it wasn't very strong connections to other people, if that makes sense, outside of your local community, okay? Um, there you go, Mithril, okay? If that makes sense, okay? So this was pre-nationalism, right? This was before modern era, all right? And these sort of connections that people felt between each other created these vast imagined worlds where identity came from faith, rulers, or local ties, but not a national people. There was no sense of like France or America or India. Okay, it was very much about different things. Okay, and about who your ruler is at any given time. But there could be like people that spoke one language who had multiple different rulers split up into kingdoms, things like that. Okay. Uh, and local ties, again, were the most important. So if we go on to the next one here. So this ended up changing. All right. This ended up changing. Um, and by the way, if Adam is here, I want to give a shout out to Adam. I don't know, Adam, just giving a shout out to Adam. Many of you won't know what I'm talking about, but okay, just ignore that. But give a shout out here to Adam. Okay. Hello, Alvin. All right. So okay. Key factors in the development of nationalism. So this changed. Okay. This changed much later. This changed much later. So after the invention of the printing press, all right, or I should say the reinvention of the printing press at the hands of the Europeans and Gutenberg. Thank you, Adam. Yes. Okay. Um, you suddenly start seeing a much different idea emerge. Okay. Um, okay. So this is how it happened. All right. Um, with the advent of the printing press, let's just get into it. I'll go to the next slide here. So with the invention of the printing press, this is what ended up happening. All right. It became possible for book. We did a stream one time on the printing press and how important it was. Right. With the invention of the printing press, it became possible for books, newspapers, and other documents to be produced. Yeah, Meowsword. Oh, Meowsword, you. I love it. I love it, Meowsword. Okay. You know the language to use, Meowsword, that I appreciate. Okay. Yes, superstructural cringe. So with the invention of the printing press, it became possible for books, newspapers, and other documents to be produced in the local vernacular language. So before the printing press, like very few people could read or write, and most writing, especially in Europe, would be done in Latin. Uh, and other places around the world too. There'd be in China, it was Mandarin Chinese. It would be very a sort of a centralized language, um, and they'd be produced in the. Okay, well, with the invention of the printing press, people. Hello, Hayori. People. It's a lot more books and such started to be printed in vernacular local languages. So instead of having a Bible in Latin, you would have your Bible in your local language. If it were German, if it were French, if it were Dutch, if it were English, you would have it in your own language. All right. And this allowed, with them starting with the mass production of printed things, all right, that were bought and sold with capitalist principles, so private ownership of presses and things like that. Um, it suddenly people that spoke the same vernacular language were all reading similar stuff. Okay, because they were reading stuff written in their language, which is different than stuff that they couldn't read in a different language, which was being read by a different set of people, right? So, like, if we're all reading French, and then next door are Germans who are reading different written works that are in German, you're going to start seeing people um, starting to view things differently over time, right? So, and the capitalism required that things that were printed could be sold. So, these early merchants wanted to make sure that they were written in vernacular languages so that they could sell more to people who could speak the languages. Okay. So print capitalism led to the creation of things like a standardized calendar system for people of the same language, notions of inclusion and exclusion in a particular language or group, okay, and united ideas of space and time in different in different communities that spoke the same language, okay, and the standardization of languages, okay. So with the invention, okay. With the invention of the printing press, you start seeing people thinking the same who speak the same language. Literally, the printing press led to, like I said, the invention of calendars that were used amongst people of the same language, the invention of like ideas of time and space, like the idea of a certain language of people existing in a certain defined area of space came because of the printing press. Um, the uh, uh, the idea of inclusion and exclusion. Who is a member of our group? Who is not a member of our group? Okay, started to become a bigger idea because when you have a bunch of people writing in a vernacular language, they start agreeing in things like that on what does it mean to be someone who speaks our language. What is it? Someone who doesn't speak the language. Who are we and who are they? Okay. Are you Yes, absolutely, Mithril. So, like, formalized, standardized grammar came about because of the printing press. Absolutely, and this included the standardization of languages. Like, for example, in France, there's all sorts of dialects. Uh, oh, how dare you're right, SoCal. I am trying to work on my. You're right though. My okay. There's all sorts of dialects of French spoken. But at this time, like, they tried to standardize it, for example, so that there was only one main form of French. Same thing in lots of other places. There started to be the invention of things like dictionaries to try and formalize and standardize languages so that they could be understood for an entire group of people and understand the literature. Okay. Thank you, Victoria. Okay. Hello, Dolly Boy. Hello, Victoria. Okay. So the standardization of things like this. Um, then, so the invention of print capitalism really started making people starting imagining themselves as part of group of like-minded people who shared similar ideas of space, time, us versus them, and language. Okay. Does that make sense? And since all people would be reading the same stuff, they would typically be exposed to the similar information and would have shared ideas amongst themselves. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. This was made, yep, absolutely, Mithra. We'll get to that, the colonial aspects of this. Okay. That brings us to another thing that led to the creation of nations. The idea of nations was it was the decline of dynastic realms. So, with the invention of the printing press, this also partially comes from the printing press. The power of like that religious way of thinking, identification, and the power of identifying with your ruler or your lord began to disappear because people started identifying more with the other people who were within their language group, essentially. And also, the printing press led to things like partially like the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment, which started questioning kings, queens, and religions. All right. And this kind of left a vacuum. This kind of left a vacuum as to, okay, so where should the government come from? If it's not going to come from kings and queens, if it's not going to come from kings or queens or religion, where will it come from? And into that vacuum came the nation or nationalism. So the Enlightenment, scientific revolution, and the printing press combined kind of created this perfect stew that allowed nationalism to replace things like the divine right of kings. Um, Yeah, absolutely, Dolly Boy. And we're going to talk about how, like, the standardization of languages became a way of crushing minorities to ensure, like, a unified state. All right. Okay. I know. You know, you're totally right, Mithril. Okay. Anyway, um, so in that vacuum emerged the idea of a nation. All right, that maybe instead of political power coming out of the divine right of a king or a queen to rule because God has told them they can rule, the power should come out of a nation or a people of a shared identity. All right? All right. Okay. So, yep, Dolly Bull, I know, right? Okay. Hello, who's Revolter? Who's Revolter? Oh, it's you, SoCal. Gotcha. All right. Um, so let me go on to this next one here. Okay. All right. So, what is a nation? And we still live in this era, okay? What is a nation then? This is where uh so we know it kind of came about because of the printing press, people starting to connect with each other more on the basis of a shared language, the printing press, like I said, and the dismantling of like dynasties and things like that, dynastic power. So, what is it exactly? This is the key idea that Anderson had. And it has made massive it has had a massive impact on how social scientists view these things. Nations are, at their foundation, imagined communities. They're not actually existing things. They are imagined. What does that mean? So, like, I'm in the United States. There are 300 million plus Americans here. Why do like, what kind of connection do I have to someone living in, like, I don't know, rural Kansas? I'm over here in Ohio in a rural area. Why do I feel like why would I feel a connection to someone in rural Kansas and call them a fellow American? I don't know this person. For most of my life, I will definitely not meet every other person in the national American community, right? And yet there's this idea of a nation, right? Like a national uh identity that everyone is a part of. You see what I mean? Okay. Oh God, Mithril and Dolly Boy, we do the exact same thing here. American values, and thing. It's so annoying. Okay. Anyway, they're imaginary, right? they're imaginary. I don't have any connection to like people on the other side of the country, but for some reason, there's an idea of connection amongst us, right? That we're in the same nation. So they're imagined, they're not real. Okay. Now they exist, but they're not connected to anything. There's not a real connection there, if that makes sense. All right. Uh, so so they're imagined. Nations are imagined. We're all sort of imagining. And forgive, but funny enough, what Dolly Boy and uh, who was it, Mithril were saying, that's how they become imagined. Is a lot of times they're created. The government tries to enforce them. Um, yep, absolutely, Jonas. Like their British values, What does that mean, right? Like who decides what is a British value? These are, yeah, absolutely. They're like these are invented, right? And they're invented through sort of shared language and shared literature and things like that that give you the illusion of being connected when you're really not. So, okay, we can and the erasure and other things. So let me go on here. Let me go on here. So so again, what the key elements of a nation. So the first thing is the most important one, and that is it's imagined. Okay. Uh, it's imagined. Members in a nation feel a deep connection and fraternity to each other, though they'll never know most of their fellow citizens. And what they do is they rely on shared mental images of what it means to be a part of a certain nation. So they share a certain mental idea of what it means to be part of a certain nation, right? Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's like there's a real nation. It's shared mental ideas. And so that's the big thing is that they're imagined. The next thing about a nation is that they're limited. This imagined idea, this imagined idea is limited, right? And it has finite boundaries. It has a finite boundary, does it not? Okay. Hello, resident union thug. Okay. No, exactly, Hiyori, exactly, exactly. Okay, this idea of West, like the Israel is the personification of Western values, hilarious. By the way, I support that. I'm okay. Let's say Western values are colonialism, mass murder, and things like that. Pretty accurate. What can I say? All right. So, okay, it's limited. So nations have finite boundaries, and we imagine them as having finite boundaries. Um, They are not universal humanity, right? When I talk about the American nation, I'm not referring to China. Uh, um, okay, like, okay, or I'm not imagining the UK. I'm imagining America, and it's finite, right? It is a finite location defined in space and people. Hello, thank you, Dolly Boy, very much. I'll put on the hat. All right. Okay, Jonas, you're correct, right? You're very much correct. And it's sort of about brainwashing, Jonas. Like you have to be correct. You have to be given a nation oftentimes feels it has to make sure you're brainwashed enough to be a part of it. You have to believe their myth of a nation in order to be part of the nation, because otherwise, like what you see what I mean, it's nonsense. Okay. Um, all right. So it's imagined, it's limited, and by the way, it needs to be. Excuse me. It somewhat needs to be limited. Other, excuse me. It needs to be limited, otherwise there aren't others that are, otherwise there's no nation. There's no one to other. Okay? It's sovereign. So nations assert that they are free and they have their own authority, right? That they should make decisions on their own, that they're independent entities. And that sort of replaces the idea of a monarch, right? You have a nation like the American people decide what happens, or the British people decide what happens. It's not the king deciding what happens. Um, okay. At Meowsord, yep, yep. It's also the idea of we have to ensure that people will go and fight and die for an imagined community. And as a matter of fact, Benedict Anderson talks about that. That was one of his big things that interested him. Why are people so willing to go and die for this imagined community? Okay. All right. It is a okay, and it is a community. The last thing it is a community. You're right, guys. You're seeing my slow the slow escalation of apparently my illness. Community. It fosters a sense of belonging and deep horizontal comradeship across classes and backgrounds. So it's imagined, limited, sovereign, and fosters a community. Now, you all know I'm obsessed with the idea of social control here. This, how might that be beneficial to get to for a nationalism to bring in a sense of comradeship across class and background? Who might that benefit? I'll wait. Okay, I'll just wait because I was taking a drink actually. Who do we think that might benefit if we did that? Okay. Excuse me. I had to read a message. Yes, absolutely. Uh, right, Jonas. The elites, right, Mithril? It benefits people in power. It benefits people of a higher class because you also, and it is perhaps not a coincidence, folks, that the idea of nationalism grew up during the Industrial Revolution and the growth of capitalist modes of production. All right. We are united by a sense of nationalism that overcomes class. For example, Jeff Bezos is an American and I am an American. We are on the same team, right? You see what I mean? Okay. So it also fosters a sense of community that overcomes class divides and things like that. Hello, sympathy for the devil. Welcome. Okay. All right. So it's imagined, limited. Yeah, it cares about me, right? Because you're an American. Meowsord. Okay, he cares about you. Okay, all right. Yeah, exactly, Dolly Boy, exactly. And remember how we said, um, okay, they love us even though we are stupid. So, again, those are the key elements of a nation: imagined, limited, sovereign, and it creates a community. Okay. And by the way, going back to what Meowsord said, nationalism is such a powerful force in our world, right? It has replaced a lot of elements of mass religion. Like people used to be like people are willing to die often for religion. They used to be like in the Middle Ages, especially like used to die, be able to die for religion. People are now willing to die for their nation, and nations engage. There was one anthropologist who had a theory that like reading a newspaper, for example, is kind of a religious ritual. It's like reading from the scriptures. Imagine like the standard image of like a guy, literally a man, because most of the time the standard image was a man reading a newspaper, like getting up in the morning, having his coffee, reading a newspaper of the same language and the same newspaper that many other people across the country are. Um, Reading, right? It sort of creates a shared ritual that unites people, and you're reading the same stories that make it feel like you're all in this together, right? Because you're all developing the same myths and the same ideas about what you're being affected by. Okay, so how are these imagined communities maintained? And I didn't even make slides on this because I think you guys can guess if these things are imagined. How Yeah, Meowsword. How do we think these how are these maintained? How are these things prevented from falling apart, generally speaking? Um, okay, there you go, Yori, okay. What do we do? What do states do, which are united around the idea of a nation, do to ensure a nation stays together or stays united under nationalism? I can tell you one thing: propaganda, Meowsord, 100%. Lots of propaganda. Um, Lots of propaganda. Right? We're constantly surrounded by it. One thing you do, folks. Part of that propaganda is, and um, this is also part of religion, is you create a creation myth. Our nation was created in at this point, and that gives us a shared origin story, kind of like Genesis in the Bible. You have a creation. Every nation has a creation myth. Uh, we adhere to certain values that we take on faith, do we not? Like, for example, in America, the idea of like freedom and liberty and democracy for all, those are shared values amongst Americans. Okay. National rituals. There you go, Revolter. Okay. So do we see how like or other things? Museums, like national museums, which create a sense of shared heritage. Um, Jonas, okay. And by the way, folks, before I've said so we do all these things, national holidays, for example, okay, statues, rituals that we do. All right. Okay, you guys got it. All kind of keep us united in a sort of secular religiosity called nationalism. All right. One thing that historians would say is memory too is used. So history is different from memory. Memory is like what people remember and what they find important to remember about the past. History is, actually what happened in the past and the study and interpretation of it. So, but nations, a lot of people, and a lot of nations develop particular memories that might not be attached to history, okay, or might be editing history in a way that makes a good memory, right? That unites people. Okay. Um, Another way they do it was mentioned earlier. The destruction and assimilation of other languages and belief systems within your nation, like the attempt to the Irish, the British Empire basically has tried to destroy the Irish language. The Scots, like a lot of culture there, was attempted to be destroyed and united underneath. Uh, okay, united underneath. The English, British, whatever. Okay, not united, but like attempted to destroy it. Like, or you see what I mean. Yes, you're right, Mithril. The Angels of Mons. Yep, 100% Mithril. Okay. Um, but isn't firsthand experience better than what someone else says in a book? Let me see here. Revolter. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking. Well, I missed some Black History erasure. Yeah. Oh, it is Dolly Boy. Like, absolutely. And if you think about it, folks, obviously, I am not pro erasure. But it makes sense if your frame of reference is a nation state, because a nation state will struggle to function because it's imagined if there are people imagining different things. So that's why nation states are stupid, because they basically, it's almost natural that there will be someone that tries to destroy anything that isn't part of the nation, and it can lead to things like genocide and death and things like that. You see what I mean? Okay. Hey, I don't Dolly Boy, you should, okay? You should. Have a Black History erasure. Okay. Okay. So, it's almost a natural part of the, and think about what fascism is. It is extreme nationalism. It's extreme nationalism that attempts to overcome class differences by focusing only on the nation and then destroying anyone, uh, okay, that destroying anyone who doesn't agree with it, right? Okay, moving on here. Nations are agreed upon. Yes, they are agreed upon outer signal. Although I guess you could say sometimes they're not agreed upon. They're kind of forced upon people sometimes, right? Like you don't really choose to be part of a national myth when you're born into it. But I see what you mean. Okay, so last slide here. Um, Uh, and another thing too, I have an image here of, I guess, I don't know. I think this is a gay protest somewhere against Russia's. I don't know. So a lot of like subculture. No, that's not a gay protest. I don't know what this protest is. Forgive me. I don't know what this protest is. These aren't rainbow flags. Um, okay. Uh, so when you have subgroups within a country, it can definitely cause the people who love the myth to get wary, right? And that's especially the right wing, which loves nationalism and stuff. They love the myth. Okay. They love hanging on to falsehoods and lies. Anyway, and so that one of the reasons why right wingers don't like difference and don't like subgroups is because it undermines the national myth, right? Okay. Moving on. Liberals, by the way, then tried to integrate subgroups into the myth by saying, "Oh, we're diverse and things like that." Which, hey, that's fine, but you can see how that's also not fully true because we've had a history of white supremacy and not being diverse and abusing people of diverse. So any sort of myth is a myth. Okay. Anyway, um, all right. So nationalism and media in our time. What I want you all to think about, okay, is we talked about how nationalism came about as sort of an invention of um, that came about because of the printing press, right? The printing press, and that was a very important invention. Remember, we talked about cultural materialism, how infrastructural changes can have massive impacts in culture and in government and in society and things like that. So, how did what do you think the internet might end up doing? Because I think I'm already starting to see it. I feel that the internet is sort of like and social media and stuff is sort of like a printing press level kind of invention. And I am curious as to how this might start affecting notions of nationalism. Because one thing I've noticed is that, especially younger people, are much more connected with other people around the world, and they don't believe the myths as much, do they? They don't believe the myths as much, and a lot of them have started to feel more camaraderie with peers overseas that are not part of their national myth, right? And so it'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see how the internet, and I think we've already started to see it. It is exactly where to Morpheus blob. It is inherently internationalizing, and I think that's a positive part of the internet. At the same time, it might be that a lot of the right wing backlash that we've seen recently is because of this undermining of the nation, right? The national myths, and they're big people, and the right wing is becoming afraid of all this national blending because it ruins the national myths of their own little pet project mythological government. You see what I mean? Um, okay. So it's just something to think about how nationalism, the notion of the nation state, is being affected by the media, and it makes me wonder if things like, uh, yeah, exactly, Hillary. It also has bad effects, like not really sure who someone is, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, so it's just something I've been thinking a lot about. Like, it makes me wonder if the stuff about the border is partially linked to this. Sorry, 1 second, folks. I know. All right. Yes, and Jonas, guys, another thing, Jonas makes a really good point here. Jonas says that's why I think more nationalism leads to racism. Yep, and Jonas, there are different kinds of nationalism, but a lot of times nationalism over time heads towards racial nationalism or ethnic nationalism, right? Like in America, we have a sense of civic nationalism, but it has been that is mixed with with like a racial nationalism, but over time it's become more and more race based and more like white nationalist based. And there are a lot of countries that do engage in ethnic or racial nationalism. Japan is a big example of that. Japan is extremely racially ethno nationalist. There's a law. Israel, for example. So nationalism can be very racialized, and it often is. And it can it yeah, okay. Um, okay. All right, guys. So that is Meowzord. Oh my God, Meowzord, you're so right. You're so right. Uh, Meowzord says stupid people can only identify the overt visual differences. Yeah, and Meowzord, that's why I think over time people move towards ethnic or racial nationalism because it's the easiest way to separate people. Because you can just be like, oh, well, they look different than me. Oh, they're wearing a hijab. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You see what I mean? Like, so, okay. Uh, there are lots of I think it's like the dumb man's version of nationalism, but that seems to be what most societies head towards when their nationalisms start failing. They start heading more towards racial nationalism. Okay, so they can hold up that myth. All right, does that make sense? Okay, guys. And by the way, this and other things here. Nationalism, I make it sound like nationalism is all bad. However, nationalism can also be used as a form of resistance. Like, if you're underneath like an imperial empire, a way to seek liberation is to develop a national identity and then remove your nation from that empire. Like a lot of post-colonial nations were formed through nationalism, an anti-colonial nationalism. So it is. But my point here is that nationalism is a tool. It is a tool that can be used to unite people. It is irrationalist in a lot of ways. It is a myth. But it doesn't mean that it's being used in a bad way, but it is a myth. Okay? You see what I mean? And it can be used in bad ways as well. Right? Okay, anyway. Um, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, you guys. So that is my presentation. Uh Yeah, exactly, Meowser. No, you're right. They'll always find some sort of new hierarchy because nationalism requires an us versus a them. Us versus a them. Yeah, Mithril, and that's okay, right? Okay. that that's fair, resident union thug. You're right. Okay, it might save Ohio from Ramaswamy. Okay. All right, guys. So there's my presentation on nationalism. Oh, is that SoCal? My mistake. Okay. I thought that I thought it was yeah, okay. Interesting. Okay. Yes, okay, Revolter. Forgive me, who are you again, Revolter? I can't, um, uh, yeah, so, sports there's some theorists out there that say that sports are a way of reinforcing nationalism. It's sort of the idea now, guys, I don't know if I fully buy this. I feel like nationalism would exist with or without sports, but it definitely it could be used to reinforce nation because think about it. When you're cheering for a team, like, what is your connection to that team? I mean, nothing really. Like, do you know? I mean, unless you know someone on the team, you sort of invent this fandom of being a fan of this team, um, even though there's not really a connection there. And then you kind of had pride for it, and there's people on the outside who aren't part of the team or part of the team's fan base. And I have no problem with sports. I'm just saying that is one theory. I mean, I think it's sort of an innocent form of that. But some more, I guess, extreme theorists would say that it is, uh, uh, would say that it is just a way of reinforcing nationalism. I don't fully buy that. Sports have existed for well before nationalism. But anyway, um, yeah, exactly, J-Mac, and like I said, like, they have existed well before sports have existed well before nationalism, but I do think for example, if you look at who, um if you look at, like, the Pentagon gives lots of money to, like, the NFL and shit, to do American nationalism, so I guess it could be that. Alright. Alright, guys. Um, do we see, Yep, it is, Victoria, it is. Okay. So that's my presentation, folks, on American national or not American, on nationalism generally. Okay. All right. 1 second. Oh God, sorry guys. Okay. So next thing here. All right. Any questions or comments about that? I know SoCal. Forgive me. No phones in class. You're right, SoCal. Okay. So let's go on to this next thing here, folks. So that is my presentation on nationalism. All right. Um, Nations are imagined communities. Again, I highly recommend you read his book if you guys, if for those who haven't. It's very short. It's very interesting. I will not share it with the class. Okay. Uh, all right. So, well, next thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll get to some news stuff as well. There's so much going on; it's insane. So, I wanted to talk with you guys a bit about. By the way, folks, so first let me do my little bit here. If we get to 3 super chats, I'll put on the jester collar. If we get to 5, I will put on the jester makeup. If we get to 7, I'll stream for an extra 10 minutes, and if we get to 10, I'll stream for an extra 20 minutes, and then any $2 we get after that, I will stream for 5 minutes. Okay. So that is what we're doing. Um, okay. So, all right. So, the yesterday, folks, the world inequality. Yeah, thank you, SoCal. Please remember to like and share. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. And it's gone. Okay, I hate when that happens. All right. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Um, if we just kept donating, I would do bathroom breaks, JMac, but I would try to stream for as long as necessary. Yes. Okay. Um, so let's talk about the World Inequality Report. It came out yesterday, and uh, it is very. I think it's super interesting. So a lot of the, I mean, a lot of you guys won't be you guys won't be surprised about a lot of the information. But I always, it's like a nerd event for me. Uh, I really like going through it with people. Forgive me, folks. I got a little issue going on with my family at the moment. Okay, there we go. It just got fixed though. Okay, so not like an issue, but they were asking me about something important. Okay, so global. So I just wanted to read to you some of the summaries here. Um, POTUS doesn't take bathroom breaks. Yeah, he probably wears a diaper. He should wear a diaper. Um, thank you, JMac. I mean, the outer signal. Yeah, definitely get on JMac. Um, okay, all right, you guys. So some of the highlights from this year's report. Okay, some of the highlights from this year's report. SoCal. So here we have. It's bad as I'm sure you all know. Okay, so just a reminder here about where the world's going. So this is wealth. 75% of all the globe's wealth is owned by the top 10% of people in the world. 75% of all the globe's wealth is owned by 10% of the world. All right. The top 10%. So, yeah. And they capture over half of all personal income. This is worse than last year, obviously, and I'm sure none of you are surprised, but of course, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. And the middle 40% only have 23% of the wealth, and the bottom half, so the bottom 50% of the globe only controls 2% of all the global wealth. Hey, Sammy Lammy. Congratulations, Sammy Lammy. By the way, everyone who's working out there on school and such, um, thank you for I mean, good luck with everything and things like that. Okay. I know it's been rough. Um, okay. Um, you've been working very hard, if that makes sense. Okay. Uh, all right. So there's that little fact there. The next thing here, some other Jesus Christ. Okay. It gets worse than that, folks. So here we have they released this report as well. Basically, point zero zero 0.001% of the population, literally 0.001% of the population, um, about 56,000 people, have 3 times more wealth than the entire world population combined. So about 56,000 people globally have 3 times the amount of wealth of the rest of the world combined. America. Yeah, okay. Um, yeah. There you go. It's the hottest country in the world, okay? So that's fun. That is fun. That is fun. Uh, and here's another one. All right. Now, one of the things I get tired of hearing is how capitalism has caused growth for people, has have growth for the poor and things like that. Well, if you notice here, uh, wealth has grown much more for the already extremely wealthy than it has for anyone else, of course, and it's just gotten worse. So, so between 1995 and 2025, the bottom half of the world experienced positive growth of around 2 to 4%. Um, okay. Their low initial wealth meant that they captured only about 1% of total global wealth. In contrast, the top 1% experienced significantly high growth rates, up to 10%, um, okay, uh, annually. So isn't that fun? All right. You're welcome, Mithril. You're welcome. Okay. Um, okay. Uh, yeah. One other thing here too, folks. This I thought was super interesting. You know how we're constantly being um told, being blamed for climate change? I mean, as in like we're told like you just need to use less oil, or like um you just need to recycle more, or whatever the hell. They always say like get an electric car, okay? Well, interesting thing. Um so the global emissions, okay, global emissions of carbon dioxide, right? Uh, Private ownership based emissions. About 60% of all emissions come from privately owned companies. So there's that. Uh, and then the top 1% of people produce 15% of all emissions, non-privately owned. So wealthy people produce 15% of all emissions, and that's outside of the businesses they own. And the top 10% produce 77% of all emissions from private companies and 47% personally. All right. So kind of Victoria. Um, they are overwhelmingly the ones contributing to climate change. Okay. Okay. So that's good. You know, um, that's fun. Love that for us. Okay. Uh, all right. There's stuff on gender inequality too. Women are still generally receive about 30% less income across the globe than men do. They receive significantly less for non-paid work as well. So, okay. All right. Yeah. So women globally only earn 36% of men's hourly income. I mean, 32%, I should say. So that's fun. That's fun. Um, that's fun. I guess that, great. Uh, and of course, folks, and of course, there are massive regional disparities. So Europe and North America, Resident Union thug, uh, re- uh, resident Europe and America are massively wealthy compared to most of the rest of the world. All right. Now, I will say, I don't really okay, maybe I'm being biased here. It is true, right? America and Europe are wealthy. But I will say that doesn't take into account cost. Well, actually, it does because it's purchasing power parity. Regardless, this is sort of includes the wealthiest people, so it's probably a little worse than this for the average person in Europe and America. But it still is true that even the worse off people in America and Europe are doing better than a lot of people in other parts of the world. Okay, so there's also massive inequality in terms of regional inequality. All right. So that's good, I guess. It's not good. So, for example, sub-Saharan Africa, monthly per capita national income is around $300 or 300 euros, and in North America, it's 3,800 euros. All right. Um, on a side note, I want to show you a map. This is a map showing global rates of inequality by country, and I want to point out something. So, notice that America is on par to like Turkey or Iran or India. America not doing so well. Europe, you're not doing badly. You're not doing badly. Um, okay, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, all right. So America not doing well there in that field at all. We have very high wealth inequality. Yeah, you did beat America, absolutely, Raccoon Boyo. Um, very wealth in China is doing better than America, absolutely. Russia is doing better than America. Russia is doing better than America. Right? Isn't that fun? Okay, so there you go, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nigeria is doing better than America. Yeah, Vietnam is doing better than America. Like, let me go back to that real fast since we're doing it. Like, when it comes to wealth inequality, yep, it is very sad, right? Totally, Hiyori. So this is like it's a mess, right? America not doing so well. And I'll go back to here. Yeah, Vietnam is doing significantly better than America. You notice Taiwan is not doing well, and then Saudi Arabia not doing well. Latin America not doing very well, except for what, Argentina. Um, okay. Yeah, commie socialists, how dare they? Okay, but you see my point here? Like the more left-leaning countries, by the way, aren't doing as badly. Well, not all of them, but you see what I mean, okay? Not doing as badly, I guess. All right, except for like Venezuela. Okay, I'm kind of exaggerating. It depends, right? Okay. Moving on. Moving on, folks. So I just wanted to show you that that report came out. So good, we got all that to love and deal with. Yay! Yay! Guys, I actually got to use the restroom. If you guys don't mind giving me 1 second, I keep putting it off, but I'll be right back. I just got to use the restroom. No, I know Raccoon Boy. Forgive me. I'm not saying I that was a bad exaggeration. I shouldn't have said the left leaning thing. Regardless, a lot of countries that are left leaning. Okay, give me 1 second, folks. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna put up my screen. Yes, Meowzord, I agree. Someone should make a bathroom break. Someone should make a bathroom break graphic. Anyway, um, all right, I'm back. Thank you everyone for letting me urinate. I see all the weird degenerate chat going on based off my need to urinate. Do I look pale? Huh. My face looks super pale, doesn't it? Anyway, maybe I am getting sick. Regardless, um, uh, okay. So, moving on to the next thing, folks. We got some news items to talk about. Trump, I don't know if you guys heard, um, basically, is doing some piracy and captured a um okay. What is it? So there was an oil tanker, okay? And basically what happened, um oh, that's so cool, Raccoon Boyo. Yeah, I wish we had good stuff that here. So basically what happened, folks, is that um Raccoon Boyo. All right. So there was a oil tanker, oil tanker that okay. There was an yeah, that's funny, Jonas. You mean the pirates? Yeah. So there was a Venezuelan oil tanker heading towards Cuba, and uh, there was a Venezuelan oil tanker heading towards Cuba. The American military stopped it, seized it, and prevented it from reaching its destination. When asked, Trump said that he would. Be They asked, "What are you going to do with the oil that was on this oil tanker?" And he said, "Oh, we'll probably keep it. We're probably going to keep it. We're probably going to take the oil," which is basically piracy. But I'll tell you what, folks, this is what is pretty dramatic about this. Um, what this is what's pretty dramatic about this. Honestly, Jim, I don't. Do we know? Yep, absolutely. Outer signal. This is my thought, folks. You know, Venezuela's economy basically is based off oil. Uh, it is a publicly owned thing. They use the profits from oil companies to fund their social services. Damage to their oil production is disastrous for their economy. And in almost any other scenario, this would be viewed as an act of war. If you start cutting off a vital part of someone's economy, that will crush their economy, that would be an act of war. And what we have seen over the last few months is a slow escalation. Um, um, okay. An extreme escalation, and this is the next stage in that escalation, right? So that's bad because remember, we already have a carrier group in the Caribbean with, tons of firepower and things like that, and threats of removing Maduro. And now we've now stepped it up another step, and we've been bombing ships coming out of Venezuela or boats. And now we have the next step. Now we've started seizing oil tankers. As I said previously, I suspect Trump is trying to force Maduro to resign by slowly escalating. And I think that what will end up happening, um, what will end up happening is one, um, one, they will either someone in Venezuela will get a trigger finger, understandably, and fire upon an American vessel in defense of an oil tanker or something, which will then give Trump an excuse to go to war, claiming that it's defense. He'll use that nationalism argument, or uh, Trump will be embarrassed by Maduro not stepping down, and eventually he'll just take the aggress. He will become the aggressor and start the war, claiming something bad like that. Okay, or third, and I don't think this will happen. Maduro steps down, which I don't think will happen. So I suspect we will eventually be seeing bombing going on in Venezuela, but this is a massive escalation. done by the Trump administration, basically stealing Venezuela's oil at sea. Okay. Yeah, oh, totally. Stephen Miller is totally gooning right now. Totally gooning somewhere in a corner somewhere. Okay. Oh my God, one second. Okay. Uh, so that has happened. That's a big news thing, and we'll see. Also, at the same time, and I find this relatively suspicious. Um, okay. Yeah, oh my God, Meowzord. Oh my God, you're on fire today, Meowzord. That is a great reference. Okay. Yeah, maybe, Meowzord, maybe. Um, okay. No, I don't think we would ever send troops on the ground. I suspect we will do a bombing campaign, which is still war. But uh, something else I noticed that was interesting: the same day that this happened, or maybe one day before, somewhere around it. Um, this woman, yeah, they do. He is way too egocentric, right? How dare you, Mad Sci Guy, calling me a welcome, Mad Sci Guy, calling me a Zionist jester. So notice, let me see here. So basically, yesterday, Marina Carino Machado uh, came out and showed herself in public in Norway. In Norway, she is probably the biggest threat to Maduro, and she has been being quiet and being trying to and tried to keep herself kind of hidden away because she's under threat from the Maduro regime. I don't think it's a coincidence that she came out and showed herself publicly to thunderous applause in Norway the day this happened. I suspect she's trying to position herself to be the one that takes over after Maduro is removed from office or leaves office, because that's what she thinks is going to happen. Because I bet the United States has teed her off that might happen, and they might end up using her as the leader of a puppet government there. So I don't think it's a coincidence that she's suddenly making public overtones in front of cameras, trying to legitimize herself as the next leader of Venezuela very randomly. Um, so if that makes sense, okay, I don't think that's a coincidence. Anyway, so all right, so there you go. Maduro stepped down. Another unrelated news: Trump found a second Bubba, right, Raccoon Boy. Okay, so more American imperialism that we just got to live with and love, I guess. Okay, okay, great. So that happened. All right, folks. So there you go. Yep. Oh, yep. Outer signal. She openly said that she would hand over Venezuela's oil to the U.S. in exchange for Maduro being removed. And yeah. Yep, absolutely outer signal. She'd basically be a puppet, and I don't think it's a coincidence that she's suddenly being public right after this happened. Um, if that makes sense. When's another Papa show? Oh, I don't know. By the way, folks, I did make we made the cookies. We have to paint them. I thought I could do a stream when I'm painting them. Um, yes, Raccoon Boyo, 100%. 100% Raccoon Boyo. Very, very similar to Shaw. And by the way, folks, Machado has the support of people like Milei. You remember Milei, the weird libertarian guy from Chile? Who is like weird and libertarian. Like she has support from a bunch of lunatics um, who are coming out of support for her, which is not a good sign. Okay, it's not a good sign. All right, all right, okay. So anyway, uh, what else, folks? What else do we got going on? So that was the big news story I wanted to talk about. Um, big news story I wanted to talk about. Oh, good God, I'm sorry, folks. I don't know why I'm slowing down today. I'm slowing down. Okay, no, JMac, you're not wrong. That's what I found that most. I'm sorry. Did I say Chile? I meant Argentina. You're right. You're totally right there. Um, Fox emblem. Okay. All right. So we got that. We got that to look forward to. Yay! Gotta love it. Yay! War. Woo! God! Yay! Oh, say, can you see? Can't don't you love American nationalism? Isn't it great? Let's go spread freedom and democracy everywhere with our bombs. Okay. By the way, have you guys ever heard of a Hellfire missile? You know what? Slight side note here. Let me show you a Hellfire missile. Now, um, how dare you? Okay. Um, yeah, that is true. It hasn't imploded quite yet. Partially because we bailed them out. Weirdly enough, um, a pancake. We bailed out Argentina for some reason. We sent them billions of dollars because Trump likes a fellow lunatic. Anyway, so Hellfire missiles are real creepy. I just want
On the
to
morning of 31st July, 2022, a United States drone.
okay. So so these are real missiles. Now, I just want to show you what they do. Now, there's a reason I'm showing you this because, well, I'll have a story. I if this is the same kind of Hellfire missile I'm thinking of, I'm hoping it is. Let's see here. Uh, I just remember when. Yep, there it is. Okay, watch. So, oops. So this is
Was
a
that
Hellfire missile.
it killed the 20th of 31st July,
Okay.
2022, a United States drone fired 2 missiles at a house in.
Now, before as we watch this, I'm doing this off the ball, but just realize how almost comedically evil this thing is. Okay, it's almost like comedic how vile this weapon is. All
Kabul,
right.
Afghanistan, killing a high-profile target, Al-Qaeda leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri. The most surprising thing about the attack was that it killed the target without harming others.
Okay, you'll notice that it was used to kill a quote, yeah, don't you first of all, don't you love the silly music in the background? A lot of military stuff has this either silly or epic music in the background and like is super lighthearted. Okay, so you see the image here, you see the window that this missile went through. That's a pretty specific target, right? Now, this we've used these things to assassinate. Yeah, exactly, pancake, exactly. We've used these things to target like quote unquote terrorists. You're right, outer signal. You know exactly what it is, okay? And yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, some of them are not good people, but that doesn't mean we should assassinate. Like, okay. So, but look at what this thing does. It is comedic, and then I'll explain to you why I'm showing it to you.
The family members of the Al-Qaeda leader were in the same house, but remained safe. And surprisingly, the house was not so damaged by the attack. The damage was limited to the central part of the balcony, where al-Zawahiri used to appear every morning. The missiles from the drone made no explosion and killed the target silently. How did it happen? How United States attacks from a distance of thousands of
Okay.
miles hit targets without harming
So
anyone.
I don't need to. I want you to see what the missile does. So basically, they are able to do it through targeting, and then watch what it does when it hits its
In the
target.
al-Zawahiri case, United States used a variant of Hellfire missile called R9X, also known as the knife bomb. The R9X missile can also be launched from helicopters, ships, warplanes, or drones. The Hellfire missile was originally introduced through
Okay,
several
are they going to
modifications.
tell us?
Afghanistan, it is
I hope
believed
this is a good one.
the cast was not exploded
Yep. So they also used it to
and tore
assassinate.
the R by its sharp
Here we
blades
go.
to tear
Watch.
targets without
See that?
yielding the explosion. It fires 6 sharp rotating blades on the impact that cut the target into pieces. It is guided by a laser.
There you go, folks. There you go. It has literally multiple massive blades sticking out of it. And it doesn't explode, but it shoots out these blades, which go spinning in every direction and just chop people up. And the reason I'm showing this to you is because maybe because I'm wearing a jester hat, dark sense of humor here. I remember watching, yeah, it's a giant knife bomb. Okay, yeah, Israel did use some of those in Gaza, though. Weirdly enough, weird amorphous blob. You'd think that they'd use something that just blows up because they wouldn't want to miss any innocent civilians standing nearby. But what I think is interesting about this weapon is that I have watched like military people talk about it like it's this amazing weapon because it's very humanitarian because it doesn't explode, so it hits your specific target without killing any innocent civilians. It's such a humanitarian weapon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bunch of blades and it chops a person into pieces and murders them viciously. But it is a humanitarian weapon. Um, and that is that not horrifying? Is that not like American media or American like military contractors and shit are really disgusting people. Like you even saw in that video, which was made by AI, how like it was lighthearted. Yeah, exactly. Look, guys, look, if we made a big blender, you can throw it at people and turn them into a delicious soup. And look how humanitarian we are for doing that. Um, and like I remember watching a video of a CIA agent talking about how they had assassinated some Al Qaeda leader with this thing, and he was like so proud of himself. Like, oh, such a great weapon. Yeah, we hit him with the missile and it didn't hurt anyone else involved. It was a very humanitarian strike. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, you chopped him into tiny little pieces. But okay. Anyway, so that is a Hellfire missile, a variant of a Hellfire missile. Just imagine. Yeah, okay, you know what? Wait, here's even a better image of it. You can actually see the image of it up close. Look at this. It's like a bunch of. Look at that. It's like a bunch of knives, giant swords coming out of a missile. Um. Okay. Oh, absolutely, Jonas. Right. If Iraqis had used these against us, our media would be like, these are barbaric and savage. These are savages, right? But we do it, and it's humanitarian. It's a humanitarian weapon, right? Right? Or you know what? While I'm on it, folks, you guys know what a cluster munition is? And one thing I've always advocated for, folks, is like in school, I want students and then adults to know what weapons do to people. Like we always passively talk about, yeah, we dropped a bomb got dropped here, we fired a drone strike. Like, okay, and what is it doing to the people it hits? Because it makes it a lot easier to accept those things if you don't consider the impact these things have on people's bodies. So a cluster munition. Now, um, these are cluster munitions. You can see here they open up before impact their bombs, and they release all these little mini bombs. Okay, yeah, it is John Gray that spread all over a battlefield and then explode individually in a massive cluster of explosions. Now, here is the thing: these things are illegal. Yep, raccoon, you're right. These things are illegal according to international law. You know why? Because uh, even the American version of these, which are supposed to be super high tech, because America's always about that, something like 6% of those bomblets, those small bombs, don't explode. So you drop these things in a field, in a city, anywhere. Multiple of those munitions don't explode, and you know what those munitions look like? They kind of look like little toys. And so, what often ends up happening are that children will find unexploded versions of these bomblets, pick them up, and they will be killed by the exploding bomblet. All right. They are illegal. Now, according to international law. Or like there'll be a farmer in their field and suddenly they will hit one of these unexploded bomblets and die or lose a leg or whatever. Okay. Now, Russia, because Putin is a monster, started using these things in Ukraine. And the United States, funnily enough, immediately started, yep, they are like exactly Death Eye today, very similar to landmines. They become like landmines. The United States then was like saying Russia is committing war crimes, and then like a few weeks later, we started supplying um, cluster munitions to the Ukrainians to use against the Russians. Now that we could debate, I don't think we should have, but we could debate that just because I know if Russia's using them. But I still don't know. We shouldn't have provided them. Okay, I don't care if Russia's using it. It doesn't excuse it then for you to use them too. That's my opinion. Anyway, but like, isn't that gross? Okay. Okay. Anyway, I could go on and on. The weapons are gross. Yeah. Like, exactly, Soup. She's like, who cares about international law? Just drop bombs wherever you want, whenever you want. Okay, who cares? Um, you know, it's all fun. Let me look at it. It makes cool big explosion. Looks like a cool big explosion. Of course, Jonas, you're right too. Also, those defense contractors need to make money. Need to make goddamn money. Okay, I'll tell you guys a story. Maybe I should save it for the after dark. No, I won't. I won't. Have anyone ever heard of Raytheon? Now that I'm on this rant, if anyone's ever heard of Raytheon, um, Raytheon is a major, like American aerospace and defense company, massive provider of weaponry. Okay. Oh, isn't that great, Raytheon? Right. Well, I used to live basically right down the street from their headquarters. I lived in Boston, and the Raytheon Corporation is based out of Boston. And okay, yeah, Jonas. And I went on a date with a guy, and he was a really nice guy, real nice guy. It is J Mac, and he for like I went on like 3 dates with him. All right, and the like from the first date, he told me, yeah, oh, I'm a contractor. I do contract work for, the government on various things, okay? And he never really told me what it was. Um, okay. And yeah, I believe it, Meowzord. Yep, absolutely, J Mac. And then on like the third date, he had drunk a couple beers or wine, and I finally got him to. He finally started talking about what he does, and he became a demon right in front of my eyes. Like it was like in half a second, he suddenly started ranting about all the cool weaponry they create and like all the like he talked about hellfire missiles, he talked about all this stuff, and like he got all excited talking about these things, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is um you're right. I kind of did fumble a rich guy. You're right about that. Maybe I should have ignored it. Maybe I should have ignored my moral concerns there, Pancake. Okay, he was definitely wealthy. Which was actually kind of annoying because we kept going to expensive restaurants. Anyway, and I'm like, I don't want to pay for this. But okay. I mean, for myself, obviously, I didn't want to pay for it. But anyway, but very anyway, that pretty quickly ended it. Um, yeah, because I'm like, okay, this is creepy. Because all I could imagine in my head, folks, were like little kids being blown to pieces because that's what those weapons do. And the excitement over it was just a bit too much for me. All right. Yep, no, exactly, Malzord, and, like, the indifferent evil, I just couldn't anyway, yeah, absolutely, cheese soup, and I don't know if yeah, okay, uh, I did not, SoCal, I did not, and it was a shame because he was a good kisser. I mean, I'm sorry, anyway, moving on. Um, anyway, moving on. So, he probably goons it probably does, J-Mac, probably does, okay. Alright, so, we gotta move on. Ha ha! Very funny, Jonas. There's innuendo about rockets just waiting to be made. Exactly. Okay. Uh, that's fair, raccoon. That's fair. Okay. So anyway, yeah, Drusilla, don't you look at me that way, Drusilla. Okay. Um. So guys, all right. That was so. That's let me. I'm done with my little rant here. Just the beauties of warfare and the horrors of it. The absolute horrors of warfare. And I gotta tell you, like, I almost respect more, like, when people used to fight with swords and, like, hack each other to death with bladed weapons because at least that takes some work and you're gonna get tired. Um, 'Kay, you're gonna get tired. Uh, 'Kay, and you're also something about fighting with swords is that you see the person you're killing, and there's a lot yeah, there you go, Meowzord, like, it's a one-on-one sort of thing, and it's more it's I wouldn't say it's more traumatizing, but it is viewed I'm not excusing this. So I'm not saying I want people to kill each other with swords, but it is less. It's harder to do. It's harder to kill people up close, and a lot of times, like fighting in the Middle Ages and stuff would be more ritualized and stuff, so that it wasn't as viewed as dishonorable. But like now, you just click a button and cut someone into pieces with a katana missile, hellfire missile or whatever, or burn them to death with a firebomb or crushed concrete on top of them with a high explosive shell. Anyway, uh, yeah, Outer Signal, you're right. It's like a video game, and they actually hire drone strike operators who like to play video games. Um, uh, Matt Sai. Oh no, I know Matt Saigai, but like, there's like giant katanas. They look like katanas, right? Like the katana blades coming out of the Hellfire missile. That's why I call them katanas. Yeah, right, Drizella. All right. Um, okay. Okay. Um, yep, you're right, Raccoon Boyo. They got to live with that. Maybe on the After Dark stream, I'll show you some video. Well, I don't know if you guys want to see those videos anyway, but okay. So that's it. I'm done ranting. I'm so grossed out by the inhumanity of um I'm sorry, what? Folks, Pancake just said that he or she, I'm sorry, I don't know what your gender is. Forgive me, Pancake. You were working on Call of Duty. See, this is what I mean, folks. We need everyone needs to suck up. Everyone suck up to Pancake. make pancake like us so that we can get um uh so we can get some insider exclusive access to whatever pancake studio is developing it at any given time. Okay. All right. Uh, Today's video is sponsored by War Thunder, where you can pretend to be a big boy and kill people. Yep, absolutely, cheese soup. It's gross to me. It's so gross, so gross. Uh, Man, I don't know. I feel like there's someone else in the community who could do that. I feel like there's someone else in the community who could do that. Again, I'm being a dick, Mouser. You don't have to. Oh, damn it. I'm so sorry, Pancake. Well, that's okay, Pancake. We forgive you. We forgive you. That's okay. But that's really cool, Pancake. Okay. Pancake signed an NDA, so unfortunately, that's okay. We want Pancake to keep his or her job. So their job. Um all right. Okay. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next thing now. So we got a lot to talk about, and I'm kind of stalling. Um, I'm kind of stalling. Uh, all right. Right. Let's see. Where am I going? Where What was I looking at? Where was I going? Okay, Discord. So I did see someone posted a video on Discord I wanted to react to on stream. Cheese soup. What do you do, cheese soup? What do you do, cheese soup, other than sit there being tasty because you're cheese soup and cheese soup is good? Um, okay. Raccoon boyo, that is not true. I just didn't say it that time. Normally, I say he, she, they, whatever you may be. If I didn't say it that time, like you guys normally, I normally say he, she, they, or he, she, they, them. But um, yeah, I thought though that I'm pretty sure I would have remembered I would have remembered uh, if Pancake was a they them. That's why I said he or she because I was pretty sure that it was a he. Anyway, moving on. Uh, okay. What was I about to say? Okay, guys. Um, so let me pull up this video I saw here on Discord. Gotcha. Gotcha, Pancake. Okay. Uh, so let me see here. I saw someone post something really nice in reactions that I really wanted to react to. Um, hey, thank you, Super Creeper Bat. I love your name. Welcome to the Twitch channel here. Okay, let's see here. We got ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Ooh, this looks good. Ooh, that looks good too. Louise's looks good. We got a lot of good ones. What I'm gonna do though, oh, that looks like a really good one. We should do that one, I think. So let's do this one. Uh, you know what? Let's watch this. I didn't see this. So this is was sent by Meowzord, and then we're gonna watch. Then we'll watch the one about who the hell is talking at me. Okay, then we will do the one about grocery
Well,
prices, which
Donald
looks
Trump
super interesting.
confessed.
About how like businesses may begin charging different people different grocery prices if they can afford it. You see what I mean? All right, which is insane. So let's do this. This is from Meowzord. Um, I like Lawrence O'Donnell sometimes. A lot of the times he's pretty good. Let's see here. I'm gonna speed it up though because it is 11 minutes. But let's just see what it's about. What the hell are you? What? Chat is going crazy today. What are y'all talking about out there? What are y'all talking about on there? Um, okay. Uh, oh no, I know cheese soup. I shouldn't have phrased it that way. Okay. All right. So Let's watch this. This is Lawrence O'Donnell. This is called Trump tries Epstein-style cover-up of second boat strike video. That'll be interesting.
Last night, Donald Trump confessed.
Meows are insane.
Donald Trump turned himself in as a pathological liar last night.
I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I'm having trouble hearing you.
Who were constantly leaking what Donald Trump was saying in private, and one of the quotes attributed to him was Donald Trump referring to African countries where he has never been, using the worst, dirtiest.
Oh, thank you very much, Matt Saigai. Thank you very much, Matt Saigai, for the super chat. Okay, folks, if we get one more, I'll put on the collar. Thank you so much, Matt Saigai. All right.
Term he could think of for those countries. It's the kind of language I've heard from hardcore racists my whole life. I knew he was lying in 2018 when he denied using those words. And last night in Pennsylvania, the man who doesn't drink sounded as drunk as the racist you can hear saying things like this in the safety of their neighborhood bars.
Hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did.
Oh my God. Do we remember that? Do we remember that? That was one of classic Trump, where he said, I don't even know if I want to say it aloud. It's just so gross to say. No pay this month. Oh, you're not getting paid, Matt Saigai? Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. That really does suck. Why aren't you being paid this month? Okay. Anyway, so do you remember when Trump called African countries shithole countries? He basically said they're a bunch of shithole countries. That's the exact word he used. And I feel even gross saying it aloud. And don't you dare clip it, J-Mac. I'm just saying what Trump said. And then he denied he ever said it, even though we had it on cam. Isn't that great? Thank you so much, Raccoon Boyo. Thank you for the 20 super chats. Yeah, very gross.
Remember I said that to the senators that came in?
Damn it, J-Mac.
So they came in. And
Oh, God, I'm so sorry, Matt Saigai.
he said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And they say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right?
Yeah.
It's not news
Jesus.
that Donald Trump is a racist. It's not news that Donald Trump,
You know what? Is this a bit quiet for everyone? I'm going to turn it up a bit.
who was documented to have told over 30,000 lies in his first term in office, is a pathological liar. It's not news that Donald Trump is a vile, ugly stain on American public life. What we are seeing now is a very sick man in mental and physical deterioration who seems to have no capacity left to remember what he's already lied about, what he's already denied, and has less and less public control over the poisonous racism that seethes inside him and oozes out of him. He is a poison that children should not be exposed to. We don't
And I agree with that.
know much about the oil tanker that Donald Trump seized off the coast of
I mean, after all the Epstein stuff, who would want their children near him anyway?
Venezuela today. And it turns out, according to him, he doesn't either.
Yeah.
Explain a little more about this Venezuelan oil tanker and share a little more information.
Well, I'll let the people do it, but you see the result, and I guess they probably have released the pictures by now.
I know, Jonas, right? And to get away with it, Jonas. Remember, folks, Jonas says it's being comfortable enough to say this as the bloody president that scares me. Yeah, the fact that Trump can say these things and get away with it. Do we remember when he famously said, I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and I could shoot someone in broad daylight in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and my supporters would still support me. It kind of seems like it. It kind of seems like that would be true. I feel like if he actually did literally murder someone in broad daylight in the middle of Fifth Avenue, that's right. You're right, J-Mac. He wouldn't have lost a vote. It's bizarre. The cult atmosphere.
Pretty soon. You'll discuss that with the appropriate people later on, but no, it was seized for a very good reason.
We have never heard what that very good reason
I know.
was.
It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Pancake, how I felt so bad for Zelensky in that meeting. It was humiliating to watch that. It was humiliating as an American to watch. Anyway, yeah, you should be thanking us. You should be thanking us. I was like, come on, Jesus Christ. Their country is being occupied and invaded by an imperialist power. Excuse you. Jesus, okay.
From Donald Trump today. No other president would have treated news like that. No other president would have said, oh, it was a very good reason, and leave it at that. And what about the oil?
What happens to the oil on this ship? Well, we keep it, I guess.
We keep it, I guess. I don't know, he said. He doesn't know.
We keep it. And see, that's referring to the...
And so there we are. The president of the United States doesn't know what happens to everything he sees today. He doesn't know what happens to the vessel. He doesn't know what happens to the oil. He later said to another reporter, I can assume we're going to keep the oil. Why can he assume that? The Venezuelan government is calling it piracy. According to a government official who spoke on the condition of anonymity, the New York Times reported it was not clear whether the seizure warrant, there was a seizure warrant in this case issued by a federal judge. And the Times is saying it's not clear whether the seizure warrant, which is sealed,
Real fast, I agree with you. So a lot of you folks in chat here are saying that, like, even if he's in the Epstein files, you suspect that they'll still support him. I think they will too. I think they will too, and I don't think they'd ever believe it anyway. A lot of them are already saying, "Well, he's in the files um, because he's in the files because they are, because he was assisting the FBI, or because it's AI, or it was added in there." But they always have an excuse. Always have an yeah. Thank you, Mazur. He's an informant. Um, wouldn't even care if there was. Yeah, totally, Drusilla. Jonas, the difference between how Bibi and Zelensky are treated. Yeah. Oh, I know, Jonas. Isn't it gross? Isn't it disgusting? And the very fact that an aggressor and a victim of aggression are like both that like BB is even viewed as a good guy is disgusting. He should be confined to a room with Putin. He shouldn't be allowed to anyway. Um, okay. And by the way, on a side note, Putin has killed fewer people in Ukraine, has killed fewer civilians in Ukraine than Bibi has killed in Gaza. I will say that again. Putin has killed fewer civilians in Ukraine than Bibi has killed in Gaza. And Putin ain't no angel. All right. All right.
Was for the ship or the oil or both. The White House did not immediately respond when asked whether the United States had the legal authority to keep the oil. That is exactly what American forces could do when they believe they see drug smuggling heading for the United States. They could just seize the vessel.
J-Mac,
that's what they've
far
always done.
fewer journalists
Until
and
Donald Trump
doctors.
decided to kill everyone on those very small boats, open boats, most of them less than 20 feet long, with outboard engines, the kind of boats that people use for water skiing in this country, boats that cannot possibly carry enough fuel and are not seaworthy
John Gray, I think someone posted that to the Discord. Maybe we'll watch it.
to cross oceans. Boats that are over 1,000 miles away from the United States of America and are not capable of reaching the United States of America. If you're on one of those boats, the smallest targets the United States military has ever had at sea, if you're on one of those boats, Donald Trump will kill you. But if you're on a supertanker, Donald Trump won't fire a shot at you. In that discussion with reporters, Donald Trump unintentionally revealed why he seized that supertanker today.
Right, Raccoon Boy.
Mr. President, has Secretary Hegseth told you why he hasn't released the video of the second strike?
No, he hasn't told me. I thought that issue was dead. You're surprised you bring it up. You must be CNN.
And there you
Oh my God, he's such a fascist.
Donald Trump trying to declare an issue dead, just like he tried to declare the Epstein files dead 6 months before Congress was forced.
I will say, luckily, just because he declares it dead doesn't make it dead, but I bet it will still be treated like it's dead by MAGA. Yeah, there is literally no comparison, J-Mac, except there is one thing different, J-Mac. The people being killed in Gaza aren't really human beings, according to most of the world. So, if you know that, I suppose that might be a difference. Is that according to the West, especially, Gazans aren't really human beings. So I guess if you want to say why it's different, that's what's different, J-Mac, because clearly the Ukrainians are humans. I hope you all know I'm making a really dark joke here. I mean, it's not a joke. It's a dark commentary. Okay. Anyway,
into a unanimous vote.
J-Mac, how dare you?
Donald Trump seized that ship today to change the subject from the second missile that he and his incompetent and unqualified Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth fired at two men who were clinging to the wreckage of a very small boat already destroyed by a missile that may have been bigger than the boat itself. When Senator Mark Warner, the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, became one of the first members of Congress to see that video of the second missile strike of the two survivors clinging to the wreckage.
I think it was a Hellfire missile. I think it was a Hellfire missile, and it was it was like more like a humanitarian execution.
He came on this program and
it wasn't, because it was an explosion, but
told us that he believed those two men were incapacitated. That was his word,
incapacitated.
Yeah, Jisoo. When the second strike.
I don't know, Jisoo. Sometimes it feels like the tail is wagging the dog. Sometimes, but you're right. They're our vassal state. Israel is our vassal, and they really ought to. Of course, Jonas, don't you know that, Jonas? Okay. Israel is a vassal state of the United States, which is why I'm fully for cutting off all funding to them and putting them in their place. I am not a fan of imperialism, but if American ownership of Israel, which is basically what we have because we are an imperial power and they are our puppet, if we can use that power to stop them, I would have no problem with that. I think Israel should be put in their place. I would cut off all funding. Anyway.
Was ordered to kill them. It is the most important crisis that Pete Hegseth has faced in his incompetent service as Secretary of Defense. And the issue is not dead.
I have not, Raccoon.
Dead. Donald Trump knows the story is not dead. And Donald Trump is not surprised that the reporter brought it up. This is the very same
you're right,
that Donald Trump tried with the Epstein files.
I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm getting off track here. I should be focusing on this. Okay, I should be focusing on this. Yeah, exact. Yeah, overkill doesn't really describe the exaggerate. Yeah, John Gray. No. John Gray, it wasn't a Hellfire missile. I'm like, I don't know. It was some sort of explosive missile. It wasn't a Hellfire. It may have been a Hellfire, but it wasn't a bladed Hellfire. Uh, so, um, yeah, you're right, Drusilla. One positive thing, folks, I will say is that I have never seen so many people in support of Palestine. Like, can we all agree? Like, I've never in my life seen so much support for the Palestinian cause. So there is a bit of a light in the dark. Okay, we'll go on.
6 months ago.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking,
Yeah.
We have Texas, we have this, we have all
Totally,
the things.
Jonas.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Unbelievable indeed. That
I love that
buffoon
raccoon.
thinks that that play is going to work again. That's the Donald Trump playbook. Declare an issue to be dead. Wish it to be dead. Donald Trump can kill people, but he cannot kill that issue. That second strike missile that killed those two men clinging to the wreckage is going to be haunting Donald Trump possibly for more than the next year. Donald Trump is trying the same maneuver he tried with the Epstein files, which is to manage a cover-up of that video the way he tried to cover up the Epstein files, make sure no one ever sees the video of the second missile strike. And it may be that Donald Trump succeeds in intimidating the Republican leadership of the committees in the House and the Senate with jurisdiction over this issue to not conduct real investigations. And if that happens, then our first guest tonight will ultimately be in charge of the first real investigation of that missile strike in the House of Representatives. Congressman Adam Smith is the top-ranking Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, and when the Democrats win back the House of Representatives in November, as polls indicate they will, Congressman Smith will become Chairman of the House Armed Services Committee with jurisdiction over Pete Hegseth and the Defense Department, and he will have the authority to obtain that video. On November 28th, the Senate Armed Services Committee Chair Roger Wicker announced that the Senate Armed Services Committee would conduct an investigation into
Oh, Jesus Christ.
the
Okay.
second missile strike.
I just had to pause it, folks, so I don't get copyrighted. Yeah, Hiyori, I wish I agreed with you. You could be right, Hiyori. The issue, though, Hiyori, is that the global superpower is the United States, and they support Israel. Israel doesn't really need many other people's support. You know, they just really don't. As long as the United States supports them, they will have no problem doing whatever they want, because they have the great, powerful nuclear power of the United States behind them, which is really annoying. I could be wrong, but I feel like they'd be willing to. Well, yeah. All right.
Last night, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee announced that he has completed his investigation of the missile strike.
Right, Jonas.
This morning, Chairman Rogers reported on his investigation.
I did exactly what I said. I was very vigorous. I personally got involved. I talked with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs first. I talked with the SecDef second. Then we had the Admiral Bradley come in. He gave us a full readout on what happened. We saw the video, got all our questions answered. Talked yesterday at length with Admiral Halsey. I know everything that happened, and I'm completely comfortable. We got all the facts.
And you feel comfortable and you believe that the administration acted within its bounds?
I absolutely do.
Okay, and no, you're
Oh, God.
No more questions.
Yesterday, the Republican and Democratic leaders of the Senate Armed Services Committee and House Armed Services Committee met privately with Admiral Alvin Halsey, who announced his resignation as the...
Remember, folks, the Trump administration believes in a batshit crazy legal theory called the unitary executive, which basically states that the president, not only... So, for those who don't know, America has a three-branch system, right? Judicial, executive, and legislative. The legislative branch, which is Congress, makes laws. It writes and creates laws. The executive branch, which is the presidency, enforces the laws. And then the judicial branch, which are the courts and the Supreme Court, interpret what the laws mean for the sake of being enforced by the president. The Trump administration believes that the president not only has the right to enforce laws, but also interpret the laws, right? So they believe that the president plays a big role in deciding what's legal or not legal. So how do we know if those Republicans might just be might be believing that, and so they might be thinking like, oh well, the Trump administration is saying that it's legal, therefore, as the president, it must be legal because they have the right to interpret the law. And by the way, the Supreme Court seems to agree with that largely, not completely, but they seem to have partially agreed with that in some ways. But okay. Oh, I know, Matt Saga, but for those who don't know how America's system works, I had to explain that there are three branches.
The head of U.S. Southern Command. Political reports. The reports indicate Halsey expressed concerns about the legality of the strikes against alleged drug boats and was ousted by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Chairman Rogers said Halsey told lawmakers his departure is personal. He just said that's private, Rogers said. He said it had nothing to do with the operations in his command. Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. She said this morning before the seizure of the oil tanker later today off the Venezuelan coast.
Secretary Hegseth doesn't have the character or demeanor. He just likes to, I'm just going to say it this way, he just likes to show pictures of blowing shit up. I got a bunch of video games, if that's what he wants to do that, that don't put any active duty men or women in harm's way.
That's true,
he wants to blow
Hiyori.
shit up.
I agree with you there,
God bless him.
Hiyori.
But don't you dare put anybody in harm's way for your visual.
Senator Jackie
stand
Rosen.
up and protect everyone.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sure, Raccoon Boy. Why not? I'll do it, Raccoon Boyo, because you asked nicely. This was sent by Raccoon Boyo. Um, so this is a Somali. Uh, I don't think I've ever watched anything sent by Raccoon Boyo, so this will be a debut for Raccoon Boyo. Uh, okay, let's see here. Alyssa. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, hello, Alyssa. That's okay, Alyssa. Welcome back. I'm just glad to see you here, Alyssa. I was missing you. Where's Lee Lane? Is Lee Lane here? I know she's been busy too. I'm just curious. Okay. So this is from Raccoon Boy. I'm going to have to restart it. That's one of the weird things about. So let's just watch it. I'm not sure what it is, but oh, God damn it.
We're prepared for this next level of trolling. Somali Twitter has been giving me life these last few days, okay? If you are not on Somali Twitter, you are sorely missing out. Starting with this one, which I love, because racists and Islamophobes love to use that
I have not.
According to Genesis 12, those who bless Somalia will be blessed, and those who curse Somalia will be cursed. Listen, if I don't steal it...
Oh my God, this is brilliant. SoCal, I noticed you were gone, but you told us in advance you'd be gone. You said you'd be gone for a little bit. So I was like, okay. And then I think I made a comment. Well, anyway, it's okay, SoCal. So this is brilliant. So I'm guessing I'm not fully sure what we're doing. What they're doing, but I'm guessing they're trying to make like they're jokingly doing like a Somali Zionism. Hilarious. Okay.
Someone else will. Minnesota Somalis are surrounded by hostile forces and people. If Minnesota falls,
Oh my God, this is brilliant. This is so brilliant.
the whole Western civilization falls with us. America has 50 states. Somalia only has one. Why don't Americans move to the other 50 states? Are they anti-Somali? This is our proposal.
Oh my God, so brilliant. The commentary is hilarious. Such a brilliant.
Not the birth rate trip. Oh, shit. Yeah, they went there.
Oh my God, I am worried that, guys, I'm worried that because the right wing probably would believe this, right? Like the right wing is probably going to be like, look, the Somalis are trying to take over the US and form a homeland. This is absolutely brilliant. But for smart people, it's brilliant, right? For smart people, it's brilliant. I hope. Anyway.
Now offering Aliyah tours from Mogadishu to Minneapolis to all Somalis worldwide in return to our homeland. Bro, I could keep going. There are some banger fucking videos too. I do not think Trump nor his racist anti-Muslim supporters were expecting this level of this master craftsmanship of trollery. You guys fucked around with the Minnesota Somalis and you found out.
Oh my God, that is brilliant. Yeah, I'll go back to the. I can't. Unfortunately, I can't. Raccoon Boy. There's no like slider on here, but I saw that. Like the. So you said that they called the New Jersey the New Jersey Strip. That's hilarious. Oh my God, Somal is brilliant. Yeah, colonizers being afraid of being colonized uses the irony, right? I love it. Okay. Yo, I didn't know you were Somali, Jonas. Uh, I've always that's fantastic, Jonas. That's fantastic. Uh, okay. I've actually been. This sounds bad. I've been wanting to talk to a Somali about like what would be one food you recommend from Somalia. If you had to choose one, what would be one food I should try that like brings back memory, like that you think is super important? I know that's like a very superficial way of looking at a culture, but a Somali place opened up near me, and I just don't know much about the dishes. So anyway, okay. Um, uh, the California and Washington or the West Bank, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hilarious. I'm pretty sure there's some good Nigerian trolls out there too, aren't there? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Jonas, I'm actually literally saving that as we speak. Chris. Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe Jonas, which Jonas should do. Jonas should share a recipe with us. Okay. I'm actually putting it here so I can remember. I'm just gonna let's take a look at what this is, folks. Somalia, by the way, oh my God, that looks amazing. Oh my God. Tenderization of both rice and stew occurs at the same point in a single pan, which I'm guessing means that all the flavor gets into the rice. Look at that. Oh, okay. Cracked with lamb and fragrant with spices. Okay, anyway, sorry, it looks so good. All right, okay, I'm getting hungry, so I'll stop looking at it. Thank you, Jonas. All right, so what else we got here, folks? That is hilarious. I'm so sorry, Samuel. Hey, I know you're a student, Samuel Lammy, so I know that's probably what you're surviving off of. Okay. Okay. Uh, this is interesting. Visiting. Who sent this one? Who sent this one? The visiting is Israel made me anti-Zionist as Holocaust survivor. Um, is the person who sent that to me here? Because otherwise we'll do the grocery one. But I'm gonna if the other person's here, it would go along
The
with what we're
Holy
talking about.
Grail for
Oops. Okay, I'm gonna pull that one up, and then I'll pull this one up.
You are 88.
Okay. By the way, folks, if we get one more super chat, I'll put on the collar. Oh, that's you, John Gray. Perfect. Then we'll do that. Okay. Now we're not going to be able to watch the whole thing because it's 25 minutes. Is there? I'm just going to see if there's like a breakdown here. Okay, I'm going to go to the one that says anti-Zionism. So let's watch this. I am curious to see what he has to say. Yeah, because it's right. It's Somalia located right on that nexus of all these different continents and things like that, Jonas. That's amazing. Okay, so let's watch this. This is from John Gray. Let's take a look at. So it's almost. I just moved to the part that said anti-Zionism. Oh, look, he has his own kafia. Hey, kafia. Now I gotta put it on for the sake of showing off that I have one too. Okay, let's watch.
That was just,
of course,
part of it, if you like.
So, how did you come across the issue of
boy.
Palestine? How long have you been involved in Palestine actively?
Well, I think
you're 88 years young right now.
Yeah.
How long have you been involved in the struggle for Palestinian liberation as a supporter?
Well, first,
there are a lot of guys who went through the. Oh yeah, it's in. So you know what? Let's talk about that real fast, Pancake. I think actually we'll get back to this, I promise. But before I get into this, did you all hear about the? Did you hear about how they're now the U.S. is now requiring tourists visiting the U.S. to show 5 years of their social media presence before they enter? I mean, it's obviously it's authoritarian, it's inhuman, and it's also dumb because any person who might be coming to the U.S. to do harm will likely not be posting it on their social media anyway. So it gives a false sense of illusion while allowing the US government to police people's social media. And you know that could also lead to them not letting people in who are anti-Trump or whatever. Okay. Yeah, as long that should be fine then, Jonas, I'm guessing, okay? Hey, well, let's put it this way. If we eventually get a different president, Pancake, maybe you will still be able to visit the US. But maybe not right now. I suspect they'll remove those requirements if Trump ever leaves office. Okay. Is that so? They've been that might. Oh, I didn't know that. So, outer signal. So they've been asking Nigerians. Yeah, if exactly, for social media for a few years. That's crazy. Don't you smart? Yeah, okay, I'm sure you do. Oh my God, outer signal. That's insane. I didn't know that. Like that is so authoritarian. Okay, I mean, I'm not shocked, but good. I was there in 2012. Gotcha. Oh, Drusilla, I didn't know you wanted to move to the U.S., Drusilla. I didn't know you loved freedom and democracy, and you wanted to become. Is that why you visited, Drusilla? You wanted to come to the land of the free and the home of the brave, and establish a life here in the freest country on earth. Is that why you came here, Drusilla? Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm joking. Okay. Oh, I know, Jonas. Okay. Yep, this has already been a thing in all their puppet dictatorships. That's for sure, Raccoon Boyo. It's the imperial boomerang, right? Okay, just kidding, Drusilla. Anyway, all right, shall we? Let's continue. The colonizer core. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I became, without sort of putting necessarily an active label on it, anti-Zionist as a result of my visit to Israel to visit my family. Some members of my family in circuitous way through Romania, ended up.
What year was that you went to visit?
I know. I was joking, Drizella. I hope you know that, because I know that wasn't the reason. But I'm sure you had a good time. Like, it's fun to visit. I was just joking, as in, because I know you wouldn't ever want to move to the U.S., and I don't blame you.
That was before the '67 war,
Okay.
quite early, and I was completely shocked at what I found there. And this is, I think, that was a critical influence on me, because to my horror, I found that every member of my family, and a number of aunts and cousins, etc., they were all racist by then.
Towards Arabs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good, Drusilla. Oh, I'm sorry, but, like, I was about to say this guy's brilliant, but, like, isn't it obvious, though? Like, I mean, not that he's brilliant, but that, like, isn't it obvious? Like, I know whenever I see people talking in Israel, they're all, like, virulently racist. But it's so hard for Israelis to see that, isn't it? Good for him for not falling into that trap, and being immediately like, "Oh, they're really racist here." Um, uh, is that so, Rackamboy? So do you feel like he's doing that on purpose? That's really interesting. I don't blame him. That's a really that shows how embarrassed he is, if that's the case, that he doesn't want to be associated with Israel. That's interesting. But also, something else though, one more compliment for this guy. Think about how brave this is. He's an older guy, openly wearing a keffiyeh. He's Jewish, and is Israeli. I think he's Israeli. Uh, oh, I got you, Wrecking Boy. Okay, and is saying this out loud. You can guess that there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be happy with him for this.
As they call them, not Palestinians.
Indeed.
And that really both horrified me, and I couldn't understand how it could happen. I now understand more about the impact of drip propaganda,
Yeah.
and also the kind of completely artificial fear that.
Oh my God, he's so anti-Semitic. He is so anti-Semitic. Saying that this state of Israel, okay, this is so anti-Semitic. What he's saying about the state of Israel, he clearly hates Jews by saying that they have propaganda and stuff. Forgive me, Outer Signal. I am munching eggs and spinach. I'm joking, by the way. Obviously, not anti-Semitic. Okay, if you guys didn't know,
was created in them, that somehow they bought into the idea that unless they forcefully keep down the Arabs, they would be driven into the sea and the existential danger, which I am convinced was a complete lie.
Yes, you go there before the '67 war, before the occupation of West Bank and Gaza. Did you ever imagine
that is insane, Pancake? Apparently, the U.S. just presented a proposal to Europe for Europe's reintegration into the global economy. They haven't even settled the war yet, and they're already looking at the U.S. is already trying to shoehorn Russia back into the global economy. That is insane. I don't know what Putin has on Trump, but Jesus Christ, they should just make out and get it over with.
Time that one day you, Stephen Kaposh, former young child living through the Holocaust, would be at protests against Israel, saying the world's only Jewish state is now guilty of a genocide?
No, I wasn't aware of it at that time at all. In fact, around that time, I wasn't particularly active in any way in politics, because having come after the 1956 uprising in Budapest, where I was actively involved in the demonstrations, and actually.
So true, Jonas.
The uprising.
Okay, I know I keep interrupting this guy, but this is interesting news, guys. So Pancake, tell me if I'm wrong. One of the many reasons I can't stand Putin is I view him as partially responsible for the rise of the far right in places like Poland, because his imperialism is, causing radicalizations in places like Poland. Now, I know that's not the only reason, but that the right wing is growing in places like Poland and elsewhere. But anyway, that's really bizarre. I mean, Russia was already part of the global economy, selling oil to Europe via India. Yeah, but like there were still lots of barriers, Matt Saigai, that was sort of making it really difficult for them to sell it in other ways. And it was more expensive by having like yeah, but so I guess reintegrating them in a normalized way, I should say, is what I'm guessing this is talking about. I'd have to look it
The
up.
day before really started at my university. But I have been through so many political upheavals and changes that when I got to the UK in '56, I decided to concentrate on my profession rather than.
So how do you rediscover Palestine and activism? Is it more recently, in the last 10, 15
Well,
years?
I think the critical experience was first the false anti-Semitism campaign inside the Labour Party.
Okay, so the Jeremy Corbyn period.
That's right. When I was.
Yeah, that for the UK people here in chat. I have not read about that. I mean, I know that that happened, that Jeremy Corbyn was accused of anti-Semitism. I'm guessing that was all Zionists doing that. Is that what that was? Did he say something like what you know, I can read about it. I need to look. I need to oh, gotcha. Okay, I didn't know that, Matt Saigai. Interesting. All right.
Horrified by
I know it's bullshit, the anti-Semitism accusation, but I'm curious, or at least I think it is. I'd have to look into it.
Complete cynicism and I think deliberate lies that surrounded that campaign, using a false accusation of anti-Semitism against the left.
Yes.
And Jeremy Corbyn personally, but also his.
And which has now continued into a general attack on pro-Palestine activists as being anti-Semitic.
Yes. But that was the beginning of,
Interesting.
Of my.
Were you a member of the Labour Party?
Yes.
Are you still a member of the Labour Party?
No.
Good.
This links to how I became active in the Palestine thing, because I resigned from the Labour Party when, having been asked by a left socialist group, SLN, to address them about the Holocaust on Holocaust Memorial Day.
Yeah, Corbyn's always on the defense. Interesting.
About 3 years ago. And I said, yes, of course, I will, because there are very few witnesses left.
Yes.
And yes, I will talk to. They put out my name as being on a panel advertising it. And I immediately got a letter from the regional office of the Labour Party saying that, putting me on notice that if I go ahead with that engagement.
I'm just pausing so I don't get a copyright here, folks. Okay.
I would be in disciplinary investigations would.
Oh my God. So they're saying that the Labour Party said that they would punish him if he got on that panel. That was. God damn the Labour Party. I swear to God. Like, why? It just, as I said before, one of the most hilariously named parties in the world. The Labour Party. Yeah. Which Labour people, which people, what labor are you fighting for? Okay. God. Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought so. I totally thought so. I know that they also have like close relationship with Putin and shit. Thank you, Pancake. I'll have to read about that more. See here, let me just put I think it's a bit of an exact. I don't think you should use the word "Mister" there. I think that's a bit too nice to them. Okay, that's okay. All right. Just monarchist who was a friend. Good God. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. And I know Putin has also, like, the Russian government has been putting out a bunch of propaganda that's been filling European media spaces, trying to divide Europe and things like that. And a lot of that has come to the U.S. too. Okay. You may know Braun. Yes, I do know Braun. Fascinating. I need to look more into that. I have read a little bit about what's going on in Poland. All right. And if anyone has a reason to be nervous about Russia, it's Poland. Just look at history, folks. Just look at history. Poor Poland, always getting attacked by their neighbors indiscriminately, it seems. Okay. I'm trying to see what else we got here. They were left wing during and after World War II. You're smart. What are you talking about, Matt Saigai? Sir Bartholomew. Hello, Sir Bartholomew. Okay.
Start up against me. And I interpret that, knowing how those sort of things went in those days, as being thrown out.
Yes.
There could be no other
So
outcome.
you quit.
I immediately resigned with a letter, and that letter went viral because I ended the letter saying that maybe these techniques of false accusation of anti-Semitism, etc.
Oh, I got you, Matt.
Will work electorally in the short term. In the long term, it will be a matter of shame for the Labour Party.
Well said.
That it had to be the Labour Party who imported McCarthyism into this country.
Well said.
Okay, interesting. So that was a good segment. Maybe we'll watch some other segments of this, but that is interesting how the Labour Party turned on him. This was great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh God, who was it? I know who sent it. I'm having a mind blank, but I know who sent it. I can see it in my head. Not Elliot. John Gray. Thank you, John Gray, for saying that. We'll watch more of it at some point, but that's an interesting segment there. Okay. All right. So that's very interesting. Now, one other thing I would like to watch. Probably they're definitely, Jonas, they are definitely exaggerating it. Like the Russian media and Russian propaganda. Thank you, John Gray, is definitely playing up the corruption and stuff in Ukraine, trying to undermine. Regardless of what the many things I could say about Russia that are negative, they have a very, very competent digital propaganda apparatus. It is quite terrifying how competent they are with that. Okay. Right. There's even, I think I've told you guys before, there's a couple, okay. Slight rant here before I go to the grocery thing sent to Alyssa. For the people out there that are, I guess, on the left or liberals, whatever, okay, whichever side is on, two sources you should be very careful of. There's more, but two sources you should be very careful of who often paint themselves as being left wing are RT. RT. So if you ever see anything that looks like this, okay, it's I'll show you what their symbol is.
False accusation.
RT. Oops. Oh no, not TRT. Jesus. RT. I'm not, gosh, okay. This. You see this symbol right here? Okay. Yeah. Be very careful. Be very careful if you ever there's a lot of like left-wing news that comes out of RT. But just remember that RT is heavily influenced, if not partially controlled by the Russian government, and they mix what is good. They mix good stuff. Like, okay, this sounds bad. There are some stories in RT where they will platform people that are like speaking out against the United States that don't have a voice elsewhere. Of course, their reason for doing it is to undermine the American, which I'm okay with, undermine the American empire, but just for Russian power. So there are some random good stories on there, but just because you get information that you wouldn't normally get access to. But most of their stuff is just pro-Russian garbage. Okay, it's just propaganda. Be very careful about RT. Another thing you should be careful of, and by the way, the reason I'm talking about these things, folks, is that whenever I go on Twitter, there are lefties and liberals getting all hyped up about posts that I then find come from RT. Okay, RT or this one, the gray zone. The gray zone. Please be very careful with the gray zone. All right. The Gray Zone is another news site that is very they even call it here in the AI here even calls it a far left American news zone. Okay. Here's the Gray Zone. It is very much linked with Russia also. And again, sometimes they have good stories, but like a lot of their stuff is randomly, exactly, Matt Saigai, is randomly very, very, very pro-Russian. I'm trying to see if I can find an example. Yep, like right here. Here you go. Like this is talking about how like the failure to push back against the Belarus's dictatorship and how like America has failed to remove the. Okay. Yeah. So just be careful. I'm just saying if you see things linked to these, um, okay. I'm trying to find here. Yeah. Okay. Trying to find. This is actually interesting. Real fast here. I just saw this that anyway about how see they're this might be true. It might be true that the UK funded a radio show to sway Nigerian voters. That's possible. But you see all of this is framed in an anti-American way because it's Russia, which I don't care if the empires want to fight like about things like this, but just be careful because some of the information, especially when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, is very bad. Um, okay. Yeah, so outer signal. I'm exaggerating outer signal. So there are some things you can get on the gray zone that are good. Okay, Max Blumenthal uh, isn't bad. And so I am kind of exaggerating, but I'll just don't take it don't take it but just be careful. Anything that has to do with Russia and Ukraine or Russia often is bad information. Like that one story I just showed you might be good information. It might be. But just be careful with stuff from Gray Zone. Okay. Max Blumenthal. Yeah, because Max Blumenthal is pretty good normally. Um, and yeah, see, Matt Blumenthal, he also contributes to Sputnik and RT, so he also is kind of mixed in with the Russians. But I will tell you, I bet he either probably never talks about Russia, or if he does, it's positive. Otherwise, he wouldn't be on there. So just be careful when you hear him talking about. Um, just be careful when you hear him talking about anything about Russia because he has reason to not be fully um, okay, he's kind of like listening to an America. Yeah, there you go, Anderson. Like an American person who is talking about like an American general or whatever talking about America. Okay. Uh trying to find again. I know this is not good. Yeah, because he was defending RT. Um Yep. Okay. So he's defending Russian foreign policy on platforms such as RT and Sputnik, and he also defended Russia's role in the Syrian civil war. Um, Okay, so, hey, no, I get it, Jonas, and, like, I'm not saying all of this stuff is bad, but just be cautious, okay? So, anyway, just be cautious about Gray Zone and RT and Sputnik, alright? It's the same thing like you should be cautious about American, sources too, that are very pro-American, like CNN or whatever. Um, okay. Yeah, oh, I get it, Jonas, I get it. Alright. But again, real fast, folks, something else here to Outer Signal. I hope you know I'm not criticizing you, Outer Signal, when I said that stuff, but I want to point out that everyone has a bias. What matters is are the facts in it and what is being read true. So if okay, so like even if it's let's say it's a conservative website and they post an article with all facts that are true, uh, then okay, you can use that as a good source because it's factually true, right? Now, they might not be talking about certain things and they might come to the wrong conclusions or whatever. But by everyone has bias. So what's most important is factuality. One of the things is that, like in America especially, is that there's this idea of like false equivalence that like left-wing news left-wing news is biased so that and therefore it can't be good. Well, no, a lot of left-wing news has really good factual information. You see what I mean? Even if it's biased, and I'll admit it's biased, but okay, just a side note there. But yeah, just be careful of RT in the gray zone, okay? Um, not for everything. Things that aren't directly related to Russia are typically pretty good, or can be good, I should say. All right. All right. Anyway, let's go back to this other thing. Yeah, I saw a video of a rich guy. Yeah, exactly. Outer signal. Excellent. Okay, so let's see here. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. What was I going to do? Okay, so another thing here is uh, Uh, God, what was I about to say? Okay, yes. What time is it? I just got to double check here. Okay, so let's start watching that thing about the groceries. I'm super interested in it. I don't know if anyone's heard about it. Okay. By the way, don't really use Wikipedia. I know you just saw me use Wikipedia, but be careful when you use Wikipedia. You can look it up on other sources anyway. Okay. Where did I put this thing? Okay, the grocery thing.
The Holy Grail.
Like sometimes, by the way, I'll see like Kyle. I'm okay with that, Alyssa. I see Kyle Kalinske like referring to the Gray Zone or RT. I mean, now he does refer to good stories, but so they're not all bad. But just be careful. Okay, almost 9 p.m. So here we go.
For a long time has been, what if we could charge every single person the maximum amount that we know they're able to or willing to pay?
They know things about us that we don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
Walk into any grocery store, and on average, everything is about 30% more expensive than it was in 2020.
Inflation, supply chains,
tariffs. We've heard it all. But what if something else is happening? Something intentional. What if someone is charged $2 for these eggs, but another person is charged $2.40 at the same exact store? And it's pushing prices up.
Yeah.
5 months ago, a researcher reached out to me about
this is so monstrous.
Instacart. She'd been studying their Washington.
You know, it's not like people need food or anything. Why not charge them out the wazoo for it, right?
In DC workforce. Different pay for nearly identical work. Her question, if they do this to workers, what about
what? They get the same. Wait, they pay people? You're right. Doug, they pay people differently for Instacart work, even if they're doing the same work? I mean, I'm not surprised, but okay, that was kind of just thrown in there.
Consumers. Before joining More Perfect Union, I worked in grocery pricing, so I agreed to help investigate. The problem? It wasn't easy to test. Grocery prices change all the time, for legitimate reasons. Receipts you can't compare. If we wanted to do this, we'd need a team. A researcher, community organizers, other journalists.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry there, Pancake. That's awful. That's not a good sign. Pancake. Okay.
And most importantly, regular people who care. Lots of them. 5 months of digging. What we found is bigger than Instacart. Yes, inflation is real, but something else has been pushing prices higher this whole time. There's a system, one that grocery stores and tech companies built together. It learns from every purchase.
It's not just online. It's in the physical stores you walk into, with the primary goal, maximize profit.
Oh, shocking. Is anyone shocked by that? They want to maximize profits? Oh, yay, capitalism, yay!
Day by day, it's moving billions of dollars, one penny at a time.
Here's how we uncovered it, how it's turning the grocery business into a gold mine, and why, without regulation, your grocery bill may keep climbing no matter what happens with inflation.
I'm now going to ask you to take out your phone, and we're going to get started with shopping for 20 items at the Safeway.
Right. This is Katie Wells. She's the director of research at Groundwork Collaborative. She's the one who reached out. The plan was pretty simple. Get everyone in a room, open up Instacart, select the same store, same items, on phones and computers.
Oh, this is really interesting.
Select pickup to remove any delivery calculations, and write our basket totals down on a note card.
Yeah, you're right.
All to test a simple question. Were shoppers being charged different amounts for the same exact item at the
Right, Meowsword, I'm just not a risk taker, Meowsword. That's why I'm not making much money, is because I'm not a risk taker. Those those shareholders and those companies, those people were risk takers. That's why they're doing so well. I just need to take more risks. All of you out there, you just need to take more risks. That's why you're poor. Okay? You need to be more of a risk taker like these corporate entities.
Same exact store and time.
Congratulations, guys. You have finished the test.
First, we all shared our cart totals.
We were in the same room, the same address ordering, and we still had different prices.
You're the highest.
I'm not surprised. What I've come to understand is that a lot of things that we do online is predicated on algorithms.
Different totals. There's plausible explanations. Promotions,
so? I
user
didn't
error,
know that.
app issues. But if the items themselves had different prices, that's something else.
So true, Outer Signal.
The items had upwards of 3 different prices offered.
Katie analyzed.
Jesus Christ. Sir Bartholomew, that was a great interjection. Sir Bartholomew says, guys, can we please not blame the rich and the powerful? Billionaires are human beings too. Right, okay.
The data.
The greatest difference was about a 70-cent spread. For eggs, the prices varied from $4.59 to $4.69 down to $4.28. It was a 41-cent span.
One store, one moment in time. It's a
Guys, like, am I wrong to say that this is evil? Like, I know I don't really want to use the loaded language, but it's just like this is food. Like there is plenty of food on the planet for everyone to survive. And then we're like, they're just trying to gouge everyone for as much money as they can so that for the thing that people need to survive. Okay, I know you all know, you all believe, you all know why this is insane. But it's like, it just seems evil to me. Like, why would, okay. Anyway, I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out there, Pancake. I know, Alyssa. Oh, I know, Alyssa. I know. I would say more if it wasn't. Yeah, Meowser. And you know what's funny, Meowser? Meowser says, imagine trying to budget with this sort of pricing differences. But you know what the elites will then tell you? Well, you just got to budget better. You just got to prepare more. Just don't spend as much. How can you budget if they're going to be changing the prices constantly? Jesus Christ. Okay. And remember, folks, there are children going hungry. Okay. Just so anyway.
Small sample size. This could be a fluke.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have found your way to the Consumer Reports Grocery Pricing webinar.
The problem with testing any of this is that these systems are so massive that you need scale to even try. Consumer Reports joined the collaboration. They brought a volunteer network, community organizers, a reporter. Alongside
this is brilliant. You know how China has like a massive surveillance state and they're well known. They have like tons of like thousands, if not millions of cameras all over the country. They have like facial recognition software. They can track people and they have like a social credit system, for ranking people and things like that. And we're always, people in America and Europe are always talking about how oppressive that is, blah, 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 blah. And I agree. It's oppressive. But like, what is this? This is like the same thing, but it's corporate entities doing it, right? Is that true? Panga, I didn't know. Okay, like if people are upset about that in China, why aren't they upset about this with like corporate entities controlling everything and then trying to get, taking every last cent out of you? Anyway.
Beside them, we recruited volunteers, over 400 people. Same process. Everyone opens Instacart. Same store, same items. When pickup wasn't available, same delivery address. Same moment. Totally. Screenshot everything. Submit. The team verified every entry, cross-checked every screenshot, built the database. Katie crunched the data. And when the data came back, I gotta be honest, I stared at it for a while because what we found was weird. I'm gonna show you some basket totals. Some people were charged about $114 for the 20 items. Others, nearly $124.
This wasn't in 1 or 2 cases. This was the lion's share of shoppers for the lion's share of items.
If you zoom in, nearly 3 out of 4 products had different prices during the experiments. 4 different prices for wheat thins. 5 different prices for eggs. 3 prices for peanut butter. Wait,
that argument, Sam, it's like asking why evangelicals hate the Taliban. Wait, what are you referring to, Matt Saigai?
What? The system sorted people into price groups, where each person was charged the same for every item. For this test, there were 4 price groups: same cart, same store, same moment. Same with this test.
See, bye, Hiyori. Please come back sometime.
For this store, 7 different price groups. This didn't seem random.
Really?
But who or what was doing the sorting? Back in August, before we even ran the test, I called Instacart. We don't set prices, retailers do. And we believe them. But the group suggested something deeper was going on. Why would an algorithm sort people into buckets where everyone pays the exact same prices? Not just on one item, but across multiple products. All higher together, all lower together. I started researching, and that's when I stumbled on surveillance pricing.
No, Jonas. It's because they don't like how the Taliban treats women, right? No, it's not gays. I mean, maybe, they definitely, they also hate that. It has nothing to do, it's all about, okay, anyway. Okay. Yep. Oh, totally, absolutely, a pancake. Yep.
Companies tracking your behavior, your purchase history, and charging you based on that.
It's corporatism, right? Yeah.
It's a type of algorithmic pricing where companies hand pricing over to an algorithm.
It's almost impossible for people outside the companies practicing the dark art of algorithm price determination, exactly what is driving those algorithms to set the prices that we observe.
Len Sherman studies this at Columbia's Business School. Was that what was happening here? When we showed Instacart the test results, they were clear. Retailers control all pricing. The findings were just stores putting out random feelers to see where the pricing sweet spot is. They aren't targeting you specifically. So we verified with the stores we tested. First, Albertsons Safeway. They're an Instacart partner.
Wait, so they're saying that the customers have to agree to it? Meowzord, the customers set the price. Yeah, I'm sure, by clicking I accept. Yeah, exactly. Like, I bet it's like you agree to it or you don't get to buy it, right? Or something. I don't know. But like, I doubt that they agree to the surge pricing, okay? Oh my God, that's so weird, Doug. That is so strange. Yeah, you're not the only one with that issue, Doug, with parents. I understand. I do. Yeah.
Silence. Then we contacted Target. They responded. And honestly, my jaw dropped. They told us, we don't work with Instacart. We don't set prices. We have nothing to do with any of this. Wait, Instacart says retailers control the prices, and Target says they don't even work with Instacart?
Yeah, Jonas.
I started digging.
If anyone has ever rented like an apartment, and the price hikes of rent are just insane when you have to do your lease, like, oh, we're going to increase it by 10% this year and 10% this next year and 10%, like, okay. I know that's a bit different than this. This is like immediate price changes, but
in 2017, Target spent over $500 million to buy Shipt, Instacart's competitor. Why would they help Instacart? We asked Instacart about Target's response. Instacart admitted they actually do manage Target's prices on the marketplace, and that they were running tests to figure out how much they can charge on top of Target's normal prices.
Oh my God.
Their explanation shifted, but the question we started with was still the same. How does the system sort people into different price groups? To figure that out, we needed to understand what Instacart actually does. You may think of Instacart as a delivery app, but
does it sell your information?
It's much bigger than that.
With Instacart is more the technology. I don't think of it as a grocery delivery company. I think of it more of a technology company.
Selling technology that powers grocery websites, advertising campaigns, promotions. In 2022, Instacart bought Eversight, a company that optimizes grocery prices.
Eversight says it runs constant experiments that are not made visible to consumers, and it is...
Don't you guys love being like lab rats? Don't you love being lab rats where like you're being experimented on all the time, but you don't even know it?
Running tests in part to collect data about how much I'm willing to pay for canola oil, and it's using that information to likely create more profits for these companies.
Meowzord. Absolutely.
The company,
they're just another middleman, Meowzord, basically.
Calls it AI for everyday price performance. The website promises 2 to 5% profit increases. In early November, Consumer Reports ran follow-up experiments at Costco. They found price gaps, 15% on a bag of chips. Derek asked Costco to explain.
We got an email a few hours later from a Costco vice president of grocery.
The message described a program called Smart Rounding.
It took us a little bit of time to realize what we were seeing, which was an internal communication between Instacart and Costco. Inadvertently, this Costco executive forwarded us this internal
Priscilla the
email.
Whimsy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm reading this with the form of the activity of less humans experiment was conducted with non-members outside of smart rounding. Okay.
As far as we can tell, Instacart has only talked about smart rounding once, in a 2023 letter to shareholders. The company defined it. Machine learning-driven tool that helps retailers improve price perception and drive incremental sales. Translation: flex prices up or down based on what the algorithm says will maximize profit.
For some of our major grocery partners, this has led to millions of dollars in annual incremental sales.
Millions of dollars.
And I'm sure they take those millions of dollars and increase their employee wages with it. I'm sure it doesn't become a bonus for their CEOs or stock buybacks. I'm sure, if they're going to be choking us of every last cent we have, at least it'll be benefiting their employees, right? Right, guys. Yeah, it is.
This is a very sophisticated, very deliberate, explicit attempt to maximize profits and do so somewhat surreptitiously.
We'd answered some questions. Different prices for different people. Yes. Random testing? Maybe not. Smart rounding showed it's designed for profit. Retailers in control? Debatable. Instacart sets at least one grocer's prices. But we still couldn't answer, how does the system sort people into price groups? Then one store showed us the bigger picture. Schnucks, regional grocer. They're on every Instacart press release. No price variation at all. One night it hit me. What if they already moved past online testing? You've probably heard stories about electronic shelf labels, digital price tags that can change prices instantly. If they're testing prices in store with those labels, and the app just mirrors what's on the shelf, you'd never catch it with our test.
Exactly, Jake, right? Welcome, Jake. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess, so this AI will be used to improve automation, meaning that we will be given universal basic income for everyone, right? Right? Yeah, apparently, I'm sure. Okay, JMac, they're playing a dangerous game, especially America, in my opinion, corporations in general. Yep, I agree, JMac. Here's the thing, folks. Corporations are undemocratic. And so one of the possible negative side effects of this for corporations and the elites in general is that they don't get democratic feedback. So they may be they may be making people suffer and become angrier and angrier without knowing it. That's just I know that sounds like I'm doing like hopium or something. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. This whole thing is a good thing, but that is something to consider. Is like I oftentimes consider like they probably have a lot of blind spots and they don't understand. Eventually, they may cause a collapse of the system by what they do. Anyway, so just some, I guess, I don't know if you want to call that revolutionary optimism, but hey, if they make us suffer enough of it and don't care about us suffering, maybe. Anyway,
which might explain Schnucks. The typical fear with these labels is surge pricing, raising lemonade prices when it's hot out. What if the goal isn't surge pricing
totally,
at all?
Jonas. And that's when fascism comes into play, Jonas.
Would you rather charge $10 for a bottle of water during a single hurricane? Or 20 cents more every single day? Derek had a genius idea. Patents. He found one. It described an infrastructure for constant in-store price testing. Take dozens of stores, cluster them together.
Jesus Christ, nickel and diming all of us.
Test different prices in different clusters. The purpose? Find out the most profitable price point. Once you do, adopt it. We asked Schnucks and Instacart. Both denied it. But for Instacart, their website told a different story.
Malzord, right?
If you go there right now, you'd see this. 3 features. Before we asked, 4 features. And the one removed? Price optimization with Eversight via electronic shelf labels. Gone. So Instacart denied doing it, then changed their website. Later, they told us it was never a feature and the update was made for
I might do a stream sometime on how to be a good shoplifter anyway.
For accuracy. But that didn't...
So clearly I wasn't great since I got caught, remember? Anyway.
Track. The feature seems to show up in past marketing materials and press releases. If it's operational, the system would be a truly impressive feat of engineering. In-store, testing across locations. Online, testing across individuals. But we still couldn't answer how the online system decided who gets charged.
Oh, absolutely, Jake. Yep, I'm a socialist, so yeah, corporations are authoritarian. They should be owned democratically, in my opinion, versus becoming this dark enlightenment, neo-feudal aristocracy that Teal wants. Yeah, I know, right? God, J-Mac.
So we started building a theory, not based on what Instacart told us, but on what Instacart told the government. Patents. The word that appears over and over in them, it's not random. It's segmentation. Derek started reading through the criteria they could use to sort people. Some things raised red flags. Demographics.
How insane.
It's illegal to charge someone more based on those.
I'm sorry, Outer Signal. So guys, Outer Signal, this is actually a quote. I'm pretty sure this is a direct quote, right? Outer Signal from Peter Thiel. Technology is a wonderful alternative to politics. What's funny about these guys is, they pretend to be super smart. Just think about that statement. That is a really stupid statement. Like, it is patently false. Like any cursory examination of politics and technology shows that technology is linked in deeply with politics. Okay, like you would have to know nothing about history or the dropping of the nuclear bomb or anything to think that technology is an alternative to politics. Okay, that it's just a dumb statement, but it sounds cool. And it sounds like, oh, he's super smart, Peter Thiel. He wants a cool, non-political future. There is no such thing. There's no such thing, okay, as like technology without politics. It really it's just a stupid statement. I don't know what else to say it, but anyway, but he can get away with saying really stupid things like that. Okay.
Katie controlled for that. No correlation in the sample.
I don't believe they would try to vary prices.
Yeah, thank you, Malzord. It's like Elon saying that he solved universal health care because his robots will perform surgery. That is not what you can still okay, it's completely missing the point, right? It makes it seem like the politics don't exist. That magically all these robots will start working on people for free or something. It's the dumbest shit imaginable, and yet these people are held up. Yep, absolutely, Jake. Absolutely. The cotton gin, the railroad. Hell, we just talked about in earlier to stream today, nationalism, the printing press, how it had massive implications for politics. It changed politics. It created a new kind of all right. Think about like the Holocaust. The technology was a big part of that, like in a dark way. Okay. So again, it's just a dumb statement. I don't know what else to say. And I wish more people out there could see how dumb these guys are. Or like they say things that are just, like I said, are demonstrably wrong or stupid.
Based on those kinds of characteristics, nor would it be very effective if they did. What would be way more effective and perfectly legal, as far as I know, is to vary prices based on behavioral characteristics.
Behavioral characteristics. That's exactly what the patents show.
Right, Jake.
Buying behavior, purchase history, how frequently you shop, whether you're shopping around, coupon usage, loyalty program participation, an infrastructure that tracks everything you do, uses it to decide what to charge you.
Malzor, and your app is completely unpolitical, okay? Your app will replace politics.
We asked Instacart, does this explain who gets sorted into different price groups? Their response? One old patent from 2015, before we purchased Eversight. Patents are always broad. This doesn't prove we're actually using this technology. Fair point. Here's the same chart and a host of other patents, mostly about promotions. Marketing material that touts the patents. And then
Jake,
this
are you new to the chat?
Promotional
Are you
patent
new?
that
I don't think
describes
I've seen
shopper
you
and
before, but
product
welcome,
headroom.
Jake. Glad to have you here.
Meaning,
Great comments.
how much more money could this person spend overall? And how much more could they spend on this product? The patent says they can calculate this for every individual consumer. But for efficiency, typically people are grouped with similar consumers. Groups. Just like our test showed.
Yeah, every company that I know is practicing first-degree price discrimination strenuously denies that they're doing so.
And again, Instacart denies segmenting people by personal or behavioral data. What happens when companies actually do this at scale? In 2022, Uber rolled out.
Yeah, this is the list. I'm so glad you sent this to me. I didn't know about this specifically. That's really interesting to me. This is really interesting. Let's keep listening. Let's keep watching here.
Pricing for riders and drivers.
Yeah. So someone else mentioned earlier that Uber did this too. Uber already was doing this.
Len studied what happened next.
For the next 3 years, average rider price per mile went up, 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 up.
Uber denies all of this. But at about this time, they went from burning money to a cash machine.
That's why more and more companies are trying as hard as they can to perfect this dark art. Devilishly effective dark art, as I've called it. That's how you turn grocery sales into a gold mine.
Now, algorithmic pricing.
Oh my God, Alyssa, that'd be fun to do on stream. I'll do an order and see what prices we get.
Sometimes offers lower prices. And the total impact on grocery prices, impossible to measure. Instacart is just one company,
Absolutely,
a
Jake.
sliver of the grocery
Absolutely.
market. They
You're
claim
on fire,
10 clients
Jake.
with Eversight. What are other companies doing? I started looking.
Pricing is the single most powerful lever to raise profits, far more effective than either boosting sales or cutting costs.
Prices
optimized.
optimized.
Oh my God, look at the corporate ads. I can't.
Increases.
There's an entire industry built around
thank you, Outer
optimizing
Signal.
grocery
I'll watch
prices.
We'll watch it.
I called Earl Schweizer, 25 years in grocery, former VP of grocery at Whole Foods. Why is everyone racing to adopt this?
It's very much defensive. Amazon's already doing it. Walmart is doing it. So everybody's got to keep up.
Merchants, pricing teams, they all rely on technology and algorithms to safeguard their profits.
That's Walmart's former VP of pricing.
So Instacart has played this really vital role for the competitors of Amazon.
Sorry, I'm just pausing it so I don't get the copyright strike. I'm so enamored by what they're saying. I'm not really saying
And
much here.
Walmart, which is pretty much almost everybody else, to have a lot of the same tools and access to consumers as the big guys.
The systems are watching you,
Meowsword.
learning your pattern.
Which then becomes an incentive for a system of social control, right? Keeping people in line and dependent on the apps. We're actually already kind of seeing that, Meowsword. It's super hard to exist today without a phone or access to a computer, or to be able to get on a job application site or whatever. That's super interesting, though, Meowsword.
Using that, they charge everyone accordingly.
They know things about us that we
Jonas.
don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
This didn't happen overnight. 20 years of building this infrastructure. It was kept in check by inertia. Everyone was afraid to raise prices. COVID changed that.
There's no guardrails.
Yep.
It's a free-for-all.
By the way, that's why there was so much inflation. It was a combination of things, but the main thing was that these companies massively increased prices and then never dropped them down because they have just kept the prices high and then used inflation as an excuse to maximize profits. So they basically say, oh, it's inflation, but it's not. They have raised prices well above what inflationary pressures would force them to raise it, and then they're using inflation as an excuse.
It's wild, wild west.
Companies are investing millions into systems designed to outsmart you. Testing, learning, finding the maximum profit.
The
And
holy
yet,
grail.
folks, what do we still hear people saying? Oh, groceries are high because of inflation. No. Okay. Inflation has a tiny impact on that, but overall, it's not inflation that's the problem. It's profit. It's these companies. It's price gouging.
For a long time has been, what if we could
I love
charge
Lena Khan.
every
Love
single
it.
person the maximum amount that we know they're able to or willing to pay? Studies like this are just validating that firms are very much already midway through trying this, executing it.
That's Lena Khan, former chair.
In Jonas, that is also true, right? And forgive me, I will say tariffs are also an issue. But a lot of those prices were still high even before the tariffs. Tariffs are also being used as an excuse for that. Now, tariffs have actually increased prices. They really have. But a lot of those prices have been increased more than the actual tariffs would force them to be increased, because also more profits, and you can then use the tariffs as an excuse.
Of the Federal Trade Commission. She agreed to review our findings with an eye to how we should protect consumers.
Greedflation.
This could ultimately end up being another big form of wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to massive corporations.
I asked about the in-store testing
Alyssa.
apparatus.
And Alyssa,
Electronic-
guys, you would expect, folks, you would expect that if this was only about inflation, that all the cost of those groceries would have come down significantly after COVID. It came down a tiny bit, but nowhere near the drop in inflation. You see what I mean? So clearly they're keeping it up there for a reason, to make more money.
Shelf labels, the patents.
Firms have been trying to figure that
Yona.
out for many decades, but I think what's different now is both the sophistication of the tools that are available, just the deep information asymmetries that exist between consumers and these firms that are benefiting.
But there was something else that concerned her.
When you have companies like Instacart that could be
By the way, folks, classic code word. Yep, we have no, and Alyssa, it's kind of like we are lobsters that are being, or like a frog that's been put in a pot of water, and we're slowly raising the temperature on the water until it's boiling, and the frog doesn't even notice until it's dead. Like they slowly change these things so that they're unnoticeable, and then it's harder for people to notice it. It's not like they're spiking them all right away. And real fast here, folks, classic coded language. The phrase they're job creators or doing this will increase jobs. There will be more jobs. Cutting taxes on the wealthy will increase jobs. You could that is coded language. Okay. That is coded language. Yes. Some of those things, I guess, would increase jobs because a business would expand and then have more employees. But what the real meaning of that phrase is, it's coded language for it will increase profits. And because they needed a way to convince people, like the average person in a quote unquote democratic system, to do their tax cuts and stuff. So instead of saying to the American people or the global audience, "Oh, we're doing this a tax decrease because it'll increase our profits," you try to connect it to something that people in the general populace view as important. Instead you say, "Oh, this will increase jobs. These are the job creators." No, okay, they're not doing it for job creation. They're doing it for profits. Okay, so whenever you hear a rich mother piece of garbage, okay, on TV, use that phrase. This will create jobs, jobs in your minds. Translate that into, okay, and translate that into profits. Um, Okay. There's a quote about whack. Yeah. Oh, yep. Yep. Jonas. Okay. Higher taxes incentivize corporations spend and even on employees. Yep, they do, Doug. They do. So just be aware of that. All right. Yeah. And again, it is literal that like if you decrease taxes, some companies will hire more people uh, so that they can make more profits. But that's not. That's beside the point. Okay. They're not doing it for that reason. Okay.
Facilitating, it could also ultimately allow firms that really should be competing against one another when setting these prices to actually engage more in something that looks like price fixing or collusion.
Because it could mean that one company, Instacart, is setting prices for retailers who should be competing with each other. Then I asked her about regulation. Her answer surprised me.
I think we need to have a much more first order conversation about, do we even want to permit some of these tactics in the first instance?
Yeah, I agree. This should be illegal. This should absolutely be illegal. I love Lena Khan. Thank you, Lena Khan, for saying that. It should be goddamn illegal.
Under Khan's watch, the FTC started an investigation into surveillance pricing.
This week, it launched an investigation, the FTC, into the use of AI to rapidly change pricing.
That investigation is now in question. The Trump administration claims it is ongoing, but Khan's replacement stopped public comment.
Absolutely.
But Lena pointed out that states don't need to wait for the Trump administration.
The steps we've seen, even from states like California and New York, to ban certain types of algorithmic price fixing in areas like housing and rent, for example, I think are extraordinarily important steps. We need more investigations. So I think we need a 360 view to try to understand what's really happening here.
Assholes.
5 months, 3 organizations, 400 volunteers. We know the system exists for surveillance pricing, but we don't know if it's operational because we can't see inside. And that's intentional.
And that's very fair, Jay.
It's a system that's designed to stay hidden.
This work that you all have done is fantastic, but state AGs have subpoena power. They can be requesting and demanding information so they could look under the hood and be understanding how are firms actually using this data.
If you like what you...
That was really good, Alyssa. Thank you. Jesus Christ. We live in a goddamn dystopian hellscape. Okay. Yep, it was totally designed this way. Absolutely. Totally designed this way. And guys, for those out there that are Americans, not only Europeans live in this system too, but hey, at least Europeans, most countries in Europe have developed some degree of social welfare states that can help mitigate some of the negative aspects of this. Not in America, though. We get to just do it completely raw, right? We get to. Okay, I should have phrased that differently. I should have said that for an actor dot stream. We don't get any. We're just raw dogging it out here. Okay. Anyway, you get capitalism without any sort of guardrails or anything. I know. Okay. All right. Like barely any protections at all. I mean, it does seem like you guys. We are, Jonas. We are. We are. Meowzord, how dare you? I don't like how you can predict what I do. Yep, totally. You're totally right there, Pancake. And our unions are really weak. And yeah. Okay. Meowzord, okay, first of all, Meowzord, how dare you predict what I'm about to say? I don't like that. It's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna put my face back up. I got you, Meowzord. All right. Maybe I should be more careful about the lingering pauses then, so I don't give away my intentions, or I'll just turn it off randomly. Okay. All right, folks. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go because it's what 4:21, so I'm about to get off now. And what was I gonna say here? I mean, yeah, how dare you, both Meowzord and Mad Sci Guy? I know I'm predictable. Okay, I know I'm predictable. Um, put on your deck. I hate all of you. I hate you, Matt Sci Guy. I hate you, Malzord. I hate you, J Mac. But I like you, Pancake. I like you, Pancake. Okay, I also like you, Alyssa. Okay, so all right, guys, you know what I'm about to say here? I will probably come on tomorrow if I'm not sick, because I feel like I might be coming down with something. But SoCal, I hate you also. Okay, I hate you also. Um, all right. So I'm going to. I'll probably come back on tomorrow. But if I don't, it's because I'm sick. So the next time you might see me is Monday. All right. If you know what I mean. The next time you see me is Monday. Might be Monday. Okay. You're coming down with learned helplessness. Why is that, Meowzord? Um, uh, uh, Alyssa, but I like you. I like you, Alyssa. Why are you being so okay? Never mind, Alyssa. I don't like you now. Now that you said "wow, hostility," I don't like you now. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go now. God, you're right, SoCal. I've been doing I need to work on that. I need to work on that. Matt Sci Guy, you're gonna make me lose my mind, Matt Sci Guy. Why don't you go back to your Hindutva meeting and stop calling me a Zionist, Matt Sci Guy? Okay. All right. Modi wants his maid back. Okay, so maybe go and clean up his house or something, Matt Sci Guy. I know how much you like to serve him. Okay, so right. So don't you laugh at that, Drusilla. Okay. Uh, all right. Or Faraj. Um, or Faraj. You can go help out Faraj there, Matt Sci Guy. Okay. Uh, all right, you guys. So I'm gonna say bye-bye now. Thank you everyone for listening. The next time you see me might be on Monday, forgive me. So it might be a few days before you see me again, depending on how I'm feeling tomorrow. Okay, guys. Um it's like, all right, guys. Here we go. Here we go. It is funny, Drusilla. I know. Thank you. Thank you, Drusilla. I like you too, Drusilla. I like you. I just don't like everyone else I mentioned. Okay. I also like Outer Signal. Outer Signal's fine. All right. So here we go. First of all, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. Thank you, Pancake. Think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. See what other people are saying. JMac's going to be banned from chat because the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. Secondly, we're living in a fascist moment in this country. Not only in this country, but in other countries around the world. Fascism thrives in an environment where people have lost faith in their democratic institutions, kind of like what's happening in Poland, in the United States, and the UK. And I love that. I love that, Pancake. You got nothing to lose but your chains, brothers and sisters. Okay, I know you are Outer Signal. Okay. Um, uh, you cannot stand in the center against fascism. Please, please, please. We need major reforms. You cannot stand in the center. Fight back. Do not be a slug. Do not let the fascists walk all over you. All right. On the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is thought to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back there? I have it back there to remind everyone that our ancestors made some major sacrifices for some of the things we have today, including putting their lives on the line. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, folks. Please, please, please. They spilled their blood for some of the things we have, and we cannot let that go to waste, okay? Because otherwise, blood will have to be spilled again by someone in the future, and we don't want that. So always fight for a better future, folks. Let's try to get some change. And on that note, folks, I'll let you all know if I'm going to be streaming before Monday. You all have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, noon, night, wherever you may be in the world. And on that note, folks, bye-bye.